teams are both going to have to come to a head, and one will have to come out on top. There are our first 4 bans. Let's take a look at what our picks are, as that's where the real juice starts to come in. And to be honest with you, looking at those bans that are currently there, I know that DarkZero loves something like Nighthaven Labs, and sure enough, there it is. Chalet and interesting. In fact, both of these maps are quite interesting, because I'm pretty sure both of these two teams feel the same about these maps. Labs is their #1 pick overall, both absolutely love it to pieces, and Chalet kind of sits as a mid-tier map. The kind of thing, if this was a best of 1 you see these two teams go into, would be Chalet, so I feel like Bliss is trying to cook something there.
It's the conversation that we had earlier. What gets cooked, what gets developed, what gets thrown itself in, and how far has this sort of been put together as a plan, as a ploy, and as a put together. Chalet, it gives yourself some good play on the side of, obviously, DarkZero. They can get themselves up. I'm curious if we'll see the sort of Monty removal, the play against the shield play that's been pretty good from the side. You know they're going to ban his army. You know they're going to ban Dogby.
The Cafe also a real one worth noting too. 3rd pref map for both teams. I think DarkZero played this a couple of days ago. Haven't seen Bliss play it, at least here at the Major, so they're the ones who've got something to gain going into that map. They've got a little bit of intel, they've had time to sit down and look at it, but for DarkZero they're going to have to figure things out as they go through on that 3rd and final map. But that means Chalet will be the first one. A map that I don't think I've cast so far actually this event. No, I haven't. I've actually had a really good spread of maps. I've done everything from like Border, Sky, I haven't done Labs yet, so I get to do that as well.
You get Labs.
That might actually be every map ticked off once we're done with this.
I think I've done every map. I'm trying to think back if there's anything that I feel like I'm missing. I don't. No, did I do a Border? I think I did. I did do a Border.
I've done a couple of banks. I haven't done Labs. I have done Cafe. I have done Club. Have done Sky. Have done Consulate. Have done Border. Yeah, I've done them all after this series. Perfect. Thanks, boys. You set me up.
All right. You got the completionist
That's
trophy.
it. It's like collecting all your badges in Pokemon. Oh, you wouldn't know about that. You didn't take an interest in Pokemon.
Oh, no, I didn't.
You still baffled me earlier when you said, do Pokemon say their own name? I was like, have you watched a single episode of Pokemon in your life?
Okay, I know why I didn't.
That is what you said. Don't say no to me.
No, I know, but I know where my confusion has come from. Is because in the early games they just went.
They made stupid
like
sounds
you would just choose, and it's like.
Did you never watch the cartoon though?
I watched the cartoon.
So you know from that.
What's okay? But like this is like that argument of like anime versus like manga.
I mean, we can argue about that all day. I'm well versed.
What's the canon Bible? You know, do you go by Pikachu or do you go by?
Either or. I mean, you can't go by the games. Like, those aren't real sounds. They're just like it's
what game first?
I tell you what, the thing is when you play the Pokemon games, it's not actually the Pokemon making sound. It's the Game Boy or whatever you're playing on crying.
What came first?
It's a mechanical cry for help.
The egg or the poker chicken?
Or the poker chicken.
Yeah.
Whenever I think about this, I just keep thinking about Power World. I spoke about it earlier. It could be quite a traumatic game.
Yeah, you
like grinding them up to get materials. I was like, bro, this is like. To be fair, if Pokemon was in the real world, it would not be as nice and kind as the actual TV series.
Oh, so I would have eaten so many Pokemon.
Which one would you have really taken the fancy of, though?
Isn't there one that's just like a cow?
Yeah, that's in like the later generations, though. I think is it the second one?
Oh, isn't there one that's just ice cream?
Yeah, but it's got like cigarettes stuck in him and that. It looks like it's got cigarettes stuck.
That doesn't stop me. I love ice cream.
I'll eat the cigarettes whole.
The players have found themselves sat in. We've actually had the lobby ready for a while, and I'm assuming soon.
Yeah.
We will get.
You know what? There's no easy way for me to do this. I'm about to open a can of pop. There are many brands available, but there is no way to do this subtly. It's always clicked on the mic. So I'm going to really extenuate this one.
Don't you love that sound though?
I wish it was a tinny.
Such a lovely sound. I mean, we'll see if it's something. Maybe if the Aussies get their way through here. You guys don't think they will.
No. I mean, again, DZ have been that team that I think many look at and think should be the top performing team right now, at least in NA. But if nothing else, as Vega walks past, M80 are looking to be that team. They're really having a good day today. They had a great day yesterday. Hitting form at the right time in a tournament is arguably the most important piece as well. It's more of a marathon than it is a sprint. A good day or two will not reward you. Equally, a bad day or two won't strictly punish you. BDS almost found that out, mind you, with what could have been their third loss earlier. Winning in the 15th round of Map 3 was one hell of a series.
I mean,
we're partly hopeful this one goes a similar direction.
It's why we're both a little bit croaky.
My voice is ready to not do anything for a few days.
Yeah, my bad. I'm going to give you back to Tim, and you're going to be like Tim usually is.
His voice is going too.
Yeah, Tim loses his voice pretty quick because
Yeah, he's an old man.
Yeah, he throws himself in.
He does.
And I'm going to return you. You're going to be like, hello. And he's going to be like, aha.
Yeah, I don't understand so many players don't lose their voice as well, to be fair.
I'm sure some of them do.
Yeah, I mean, Ashen never seems to be able to shut up. He was.
Yeah, okay, Ashen
I
doesn't.
had a drink with him last night, and he was still as loud and talkative as ever.
Ashen is a bottomless pit of yelling.
He is indeed. Right, let's talk about these bans because they have rifled through pretty damn quickly. I want to take a quick look at the last time these two teams played on this map. And for Bliss, that was just over a month ago or so, and just under a month, I think 29 days ago, against Antic Esports in the Oceania League. And back then they were banning out Ying and Solus, whereas in Beast Coast game, or DarkZero's game against Beast Coast not too long ago, that one was a ban from them of DKB and the Azami. Now, DKB and Azami has actually been DarkZero's permabans for the longest amount of time. Like, it doesn't matter what map they play, they always default to those two going off the board, and I'm still waiting for the day that changes away. I think back at, I want to say it was SI, I was looking at the bans they made there, and it was those same two operators the whole way through except for a single Valkyrie ban because someone else banned away Azami. To which I said, that feels like a waste because you know DarkZero are going to ban the Azami. Still, that's done. Bans are all through. It's exactly the same bans for both teams as the last time they played on this map, so not wholly surprising. And it's going to be DarkZero starting on the defense with Kitchen and Dining.
Who do you think it is on DarkZero that really hates Azami and DarkZero? Because you always have someone in your stack that's like, oh, can we ban Jackal? I just hate playing against Jackal.
And it's like, well, you can tell what rank you're when you ask that question.
Yeah.
I would wager it's Old Guard, so not Nafe. I don't think Bolo either, so it's NJR, Pamba, or Nadian. And I would argue it's Canadian.
It's obviously a conversation.
Because you're not going to win an argument against him, are you?
Yeah, we just
shut you down.
It's obviously a team decision, but it's funny to point the finger.
It is, and it just feels funny to blame Troy.
It's funny to blame Troy. Now, you have this lineup on the left-hand side, and you can sort of assume what the take is going to be on this site. Control of Fireplace. Get yourself in, see if you can try and get the lockdown, although usually things are made to be broken, and here's actually the start. The pressure on. They might see if they can try and get some of this lockdown on West Main. Now, they've got the kit not too far away. Fisho might see if he can try and slip his way in, hop the window, hop right, and plant behind the planter, but it does require some destruction to be done. Oda, almost the first victim.
Oda or Odia. What's really interesting about this lineup, to be fair, from Bliss is there's no hard breach on sides. They can't open up the Fireplace wall. As you say, that normally is the place that a Glaz would sit and play. You'd smoke outside, you're going for a plant, the Glaz would cover you from backstairs, and everything comes out fine and dandy. They don't have that option, and I don't know if that's a mistake coming out of Bliss, or if they're cooking something very specific based on what they saw from DarkZero just a couple of days ago. For now, though, it starts out with the top floor clear. Unsurprisingly, that is still very important. But the fact that we have a sense, a Glaz, and a Lion inside, to me, at the very least, suggests there is something naughty cooking in the books here for these boys. NJR, the first to fall in this game.
Well, the first victim, and probably going to be a very long contested explosion. Good C4 usage.
The curse strikes again.
If there is a position to be played, Canadian will be playing underneath it. Loves utilizing.
What was I saying about Glaz in our game earlier? It's happened again.
It's happened again.
Just always the first or second to get caught out and therefore rendered largely useless, and the comp just falls apart. They've still got a lot of the smokes they can play behind, or in this case the light screens, but they brought so many frag nades in the round as well. I don't really know what the game plan was there, whether it's to try and burn their way through these castle barricades because they've got no other option except the Ash to deal with that. I'm not sure, but it seems to be at least staying in their favor for now. They're into a 4 versus 2.
3 versus 2 just as quick, and with a minute, they have a lot of time to try and find their sliver over. Great shot from Brendo.
That's got Oda down.
Oda was a sliver away. Brendo's going to use this time to plant. There is another player watching the vertical, and the opening round is in Bliss's favor.
All too easy there, really. Yeah, it's such a strange round again because with no hard breach, that round doesn't play out the way that we used to. And practically every gunfight took place on that top floor. And unsurprisingly, the defenders there of DarkZero realized you've got to hold on to the verticals, otherwise they will be turned against you. But I'm sure even they're scratching their heads like, why did nothing get breached? Nothing was open, nothing was used. An odd round overall, but Bliss still find the win. Bar Gaming going to be where we head for round 2. It was a weird round, Carter. Carter's popped his head in.
Carter's.
It was they brought no hard breach. They brought a Glaz, couldn't open up the Fireplace wall, and I was like, what's going on? It was very strange. Huh? Bliss. Yeah, they won. That's what I'm saying is weird.
So you're getting half the conversation here, people at home.
Yeah. He's like, but they won though. I was like, yeah, that's what's weird.
Did you hear Carter's laugh as he laughed?
What a...
All right.
That's terrifying.
Are we losing it this deep into the tournament?
Look, it's been a long 3 days.
It has.
Normally these are like the night hours. I think on Monday we were casting at like 11:30. I was like, look guys, you're in the watershed now. Weird stuff happens at this time of day. We're not quite there yet. It's only 6 p.m, but it is the last series here on the B stream. So you guys have landed yourself in a great place for some hijinks and fun. Not just from us, but also from players. Like I say, no hard breach, very weird.
Off towards, still a middle site, middle floor. Technically, there is a basement, and I will count it here to get ourselves an extension. Late round setup, they're not entirely concerned of any immediate pressure and pace, but Chalet, you know, it can offer itself some leniency with aggression out the windows, aggression towards this, the approach on towards Pamba. Now, the first body was pretty cleanly taken by Bliss. Then it got very frantic and chaotic in a short window. So if DarkZero can maybe get that first engagement, that 1 versus 1, as Pamba sets himself up towards the side of Solarium, waiting for a take his route through, it seems like it's actually going to be slow and cautious. As he gets surrounded, he just walked right past someone on the double window. I think Wedables was unfortunately not quite waiting, but it should have been a catch.
It's interesting that Canadian's feeling himself on the Vigil. You know, his most played operators across, well, the last few months overall was things like the Valkyrie, the Solus, and the Mute. Obviously, the Solus is banned away. Mute is being played by Nath. So you'd assume that he'd default across to playing on the Valkyrie. But 1 or 2 rounds, I think you will see him get on the Vigil. Just to show the kids how it's done, get out there, pick up a few kills of his own. But it's going to be about that disruptive gameplay against Bliss, I think. Don't give them too much time to get set up on the verticals. Here, you know, normally there's a big scrap that takes place inside a library, but at least as it stands, Bliss are working their way in from this north side, down across through the sort of like 90 corridor, and then looking in towards library. For now, though, largely untroubled by the side of Bliss.
4 versus 5. Nath finds that opener. As I said, this opening engagement could be one that dictates a bit of the pace here if they're able to get into that chaotic situation that Bliss might try and push on. And they have that 1-up. That 1-up turns into 1 round.
1-up, you say?
1-up, I said. Brendo, he's got himself just on the swing outside dining. He wants to try and put some pressure on towards the stairs, but nobody's forcing the motion here. Nobody's trying to force the players out into the catch. He needs, as we see here, Wedables and Sage to be that dictation of the pace. Brendo gets caught by the big bad Canadian. Bolo gets the swing onto Wedables, and now it is just Sage left. Finds one.
A strange round that really lacked any teeth, I feel, on the side of Bliss, and DarkZero just domed every single challenger that walked upon them. The one thing I will give Bliss, at least, is they took all those gunfights in the space of, what, 2 or 3 seconds of each other? So this is the kind of thing we spoke about between CAG and BDS earlier on. Some teams, if you find a player stepping ahead and dying and there's no other like deaths that happen around that, especially as you get in towards the sharp end of the round and things are starting to come to a close, it's a massive mistake on their side to be so far ahead of the rest of their team. So at least they're trying to make plays happen as a unit. Even if it's not coming off successfully, it still shows that they're on the same page.
Yeah, slow-paced. I think it's a slow build.
That was a very nothing round.
It was a very nothing round. There were moments where there could have been catches, moments where there could have been explosions, moments where there could have been some damage done, but it was a bit of a nothing round. Really, we will still build into the series, I think, whether this map goes a super long time or not.
Nighthaven's the one that I'm especially excited for, because for DarkZero, that's been the map they've been known for the longest time, and for Bliss, it's their highest preference map. They never ban it. Everyone bans it against them.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, you know, that's going to be a really highly competitive map. Not that Chalet can't be, but we had that wacky round 1 where there was like no hard breach, and it was a really weird, I don't know, Bliss got the win. It happened. And then that last round that turned into a little bit of nothing, really. It didn't seem very competitive, I guess. It was just a few gunfights, and that was it, done and dusted. So I'm hoping that we see them kind of warm into the game more as time goes by. This one, now that we're down in the basement, may well drag them into a much more involved game, because there's going to be a full map clear to worry about here on the side of Bliss. You're going to have to worry about going through those roamers that are holding off on top floor, who I expect to be players like Pamba, like Dadian, for example, get them upstairs and causing some trouble, and then start thinking about the execute. And what I think is really interesting, actually, the fun stat for you, is this site is the site with the most, or the highest, plant percentage of any site in the game. We see more plants here than anywhere else on any other map.
The fun we have with numbers.
We love a good execute down here.
We love a good Westmean tick. No, it's good. There's some solid towards this site, and obviously you can extend yourself. You can sort of play the stretch, but very often teams at this caliber, teams at this situation are going to try and bait in to those stretched engagements. You can see here a very full clear in quick motion and drop down. They're not going to sit around and find out around the, you know, pressure coming on towards Ivy, the pressure coming on towards the top of the stair set itself. They've drifted further and further back. There is still a bit of a lesion, still a bit of a presence holding on to Fireplace, but it's a time-wasting presence. Theoretically, the pressure is going to become too much, too insurmountable, and that's why they're trying to cut this off. Bolo is in this position. If now they drop down and get dining control, they can watch across the long watch, and there has to be a bit of a rotate up to support him. The drones come around the corner. There's the reveal of Bolo.
Oh, they're going to rush and execute, I think, here. They're trying to ignore the roamers and to say, hey, we can get around this hatch. If they get this hatch opened up and they have 3 or 4 players just suddenly flood in, they could look to take control. I mean, they've got Wettables, for example, sat outside a trench looking to help with this. Just got to be mindful that if they want to get dining control, they're going to have to put several players in towards it. And in fact, no crazy rush in. That's what I thought we were going to see, because with how this game's gone so far, heaven knows. But dining control is really important. That indicates this execute is going to come around that north side of the site. Nothing will happen on the actual main garage door. And so now you should see many of these DarkZero players turn their attentions northward.
Still hasn't been any of this direct pressure, I say, until we finally see the first bit, and it's down in red.
So we're throwing ourselves at shields, are we?
Insurmountable. NJR loses a shield, but I think the trade of 1 shield, 2 people, I'm pretty fine with that. Goes a little bit wider and gets executed for it, but the quick trade is there. And to be honest, why not at that point? Big Bad Canadian, 2 big bad kills for the player. There was nothing that stressed their hold.
We're inting, I guess. I'm not really sure.
It's like when Captain America comes to sit down. So you're inting.
Yes. I think like the common line I've seen is, so we're not droning. And I'm like, yeah, so now we're just throwing ourselves at a shield. Yep. It's a bit strange. Like, you know, like we've seen this extended hold into trench probably for about 18 months now, I'd say. Prior to that, it was more common to be fully locked in, holding inside a dining, for example, that sort of thing. Whereas here, DZ just entirely gave dining away and said, hey, it's all yours for the taking, but we're going to hold onto trench really aggressively. And the fact that you haven't got like nades coming in, or the fact the Ace has died trying to push that out, just kind of tells the whole story. Really would have thought that we'd seen them deal with that a little more deftly, because as soon as NGR gets those 2 kills, that's round over. You've committed everything towards this hatch hold and towards trying to get this trench control, and you simply can't get it. So another, I don't know, weird round. It's been a weird quarter to start the game. That's all I'll say. A very, very weird 3 rounds.
Now, as we find ourselves putting a bit of the pressure around and getting a build in, it will be this sort of setup, this sort of take here. The structure is coming together from DarkZero with this full extension, the awareness of what's coming out behind them. Obviously, this was the only round that Bliss won, and think about how they took it. They were very direct towards the site itself. They got themselves eyes on, even with the sense, even with the glass, even with that pressure. Suddenly, that cacophony of explosions was when they got that first foot on. They went into the lead-in, and they're going to try and see if they can build on the back. Big Bad Canadian, he's on the far side, drawing the attention, the ire, and hopefully the players. But again, he loves to play this space slightly off the center. He likes to extend and sort of throw himself into this build-up, into this engagement, and into where they can go next. They come in. Oh, close round the corner. Billiards on the side. He goes up. He gets himself a little bit distant, and he gets himself a little bit further back. All the attention, all the drones, all of it. And, well, what's he been able to take out of them? What's he been able to waste?
No, he's ratting himself down in the basement. That's the right kind of idea. Draw in the engagement and then see how much more time you can waste. And Otter's job really is going to be to chase this roamer down around the map. I mentioned it earlier, but it's probably because Canadian's really starting to feel himself that it's turning into this more aggressive playstyle on the Vigil, getting aggressive around the map, rather than things like the Valkyrie that we used to see coming out of him previously. Breach being opened up here, so now they've got that long line of sight in, not forgetting the hard breach gadgets this time around is pretty important, I'd say. And they've now got a long view all the way through that top floor if they set themselves up inside a fireplace. Bolo normally has got himself set up on Mez, and that's where he's been doing a lot of work, and sure enough, Otter's gone after that roamer that I spoke about earlier and not dealt with him. Brendo into 1, Pamba back the other way, and it's a 4v3 for DarkZero, starting out strong here, but can they keep on holding on, or can we see the Aussie side pull something back? If this round falls by the wayside, I'm fully expecting attack timeout, it's worth stating as well, because these last 3 rounds, I've said it after each one, they've been a little bit weird, they've been a little bit rogue, and something needs to be done to get things back on track. You can't really be affording to be down 5-1 in this half, and I think with that kill onto Wettables, that's all that needs to really be done here. We'll find one. If Sage can convert into a second, it's a different conversation, but he's taken very low, and we've still got Canadian out-ratting around the map. So when they put this focus up on the top floor, well, what is there to say? You find yourself getting stabbed in the back if you're not too careful. It kind of encourages you to move at a faster pace before you get this flank hit you from the backside. He's moving his way in towards game. They've found one more as well. Fisher is the last one left standing. 3 players on DarkZero to go. And this feels like a bit too much of a stretch for Fisher. It may be an expert fisherman, but DarkZero simply are not going to bite on this one. Pulling themselves away. They've still got the numbers advantage. Things are looking pretty good. There we go. Shotgun round the corner. Easy close out for DarkZero, who keep themselves very firmly in the lead. As said, tack timeout should really be the thing that comes in here for me. If we aren't going to take that, then I think for Bliss, it's probably going to start running a bit too far ahead, up to a 5-1, and things then start to look really, really messy. And in case you're wondering why I've just talked for so long, I enjoy breaking the fourth wall, and as I said, it's the watershed. Well, not quite, we're 3 hours shy, but we'll go for it anyway. I am indeed solo casting right now. Emmy has run away to go and do something. She were back. So I'm going to sit here and do a little bit of a podcast for you. What should we talk about, guys? I'll tell you what, I can actually see chat. So if you guys do want to ask anything, then ask away and we'll talk some smack before Emmy gets back. In fact, it's too late because she's already here. You ruined the start of what could have been a fantastic podcast then. Yeah, I was just saying, you know what, I've talked for a good 2.5 minutes. Let's start a podcast here until you get back. And then you...
oh, you told them I left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, B-Stream, last game of this phase, solo casting. Okay. We're going to start a podcast.
Listen, let's be real. Because of how quick the other games were and how long our first game was,
honestly,
there wasn't a lot of time between us being before.
We had like 15 minutes. It was
and
chaos.
I had to... Here's a surprise to everybody.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to get me to look like this. A lot of makeup. I have like 2 hours.
Here's a question. Hey, Derry, how excited are you for the main stage of the crowd? I'm really excited because in the crowd will be a guy called Tom J. Sherlock.
Tommy J. Sherlock!
I want to know what the chants that you've got prepared, Tom. I think everyone needs to know what they are as well. How's the day been? The day's been good. It's been fast, actually, because we expected a longer break, like a 3-4 hour break as another series, but because our game on A-Stream was so long and the B-Stream's gone so fast, our turnaround was basically immediate. It's crazy. Almost we step. We're into round 5. I'll give and take more questions as we go along. As I said, it's kind of the watershed, so we're going to keep on taking
this. I'll do some play-by-play like
and
this.
This is a lie. It is not Dev Marta and Casting Links doing this one.
Dev Marta.
Me and Emmy.
Hello,
There's an Emmy.
Dev Marta.
It's the Brits.
They're putting the pressure, getting control here.
You do our job, please. Yeah,
over the top of Bolo's position, but as long as he is here, again, he likes to sort of stick around as long as possible. Now, I don't know if you talked about it, I wasn't here, but the power of the Clash, the ability to get themselves a little bit mobile. Big Bad Canadian, or Canadian to his friends, he's able to try and respond towards these takes. The Deimos is getting the deep dive. They have this back line. And, well, it's just going to fall back. Think about where the site is. Think about how much time we've got and how much time is being drawn. Oda, he's having to slowly step and go for the clarity here. With all that they've got in terms of farming and finding players, they're not netting any rewards from it.
A real change around as well, going from a Vigil to running around on a Clash, really slowing things down. And Tom, that is not going to be a chant at this major. Thank you very much. Do you know what you came up with?
No.
What do we think of Dez? Tory. What do we think of Tory's Dez? No way. Simply not happening. Simply not happening. Simply not happening. But again, I think with how the pace has been coming out of Bliss so far, with things being as slow as they have been and kind of very non-committal, no real bite to their gameplay, a Clash is a perfect way to kill any kind of momentum that Bliss might be able to build up here. So I feel like DarkZero, in terms of game management, have just had things spot on for these first 5 rounds.
A minute. And every single...
down.
I was about to say, every single player still standing.
How is he down? What's he done? Is it a claim? No, what? Was he shot?
He wasn't reset, was he?
No. What's he gone down to?
Pamba's gone down.
I am so confused.
Pamba down.
I'm going to watch the stream.
All right. I'll talk about the approach. They're going in towards the site. The pressure onto NJR is looking the wrong way. He was caught entirely unaware. Bliss explode. And that's they're picking up the player on the far side. Canadian, I said he could do a lot with a shield, but the main thing he did there was panic, caught on the hatch. They've entirely cut off, and what a read here from Bliss. Realized how much was far away, realized they hadn't been able to get any of it with the combination of the Deimos and the Lion, so went, let's send it.
I still don't know how he got down when I watched the replay back. I don't know if he's been shot by Nafe, who was inside a kitchen, or if it was Fisher on the Hibana, who maybe got a long one straight through. I don't think you would have seen him. It must have been Nafe. I can't see who else would have shot him. But in doing that, they've kind of cost themselves. 2 players have been out of action there for 20, 30 seconds. Not sure if they can get him back up safely or not.
In a very important part.
Yeah, and Bliss have just capitalised. So fair play to the Aussies. They've gone for it. rate it.
I think that was it. As I sort of said, for how long had passed in, for all that they'd brought to try and get some control, and for the possibilities of if you're thinking there's 40 seconds, 30 seconds left for an operation attack, and you have a clash on the board, and they've only really got the hatch control, why is the clash in the middle of fireplace?
Yeah.
Why aren't they on that wall? Why was NJR so sort of clear on thinking that they were pushing that fireplace area? Because he was looking the wrong way when they just dropped the hatch and fully sent it. I don't know what DarkZero thought was happening, but Bliss weren't doing that.
They weren't quite on the same page, that's for sure. Still, it gives Bliss that second round, and again, what still stands to me as one of the weirdest halves of Siege that I've seen them. I don't know if I'm just like still tired from the last game or whatever it is. It's the end of it's B-Stream, it's the end of everything, I don't know. But it's been a very weird 5 rounds that don't really seem to carry much rhyme or reason. I thought DarkZero had got a lot of control, and as I said, have really good game management, and then that kind of thing happens. And so many things are turned entirely on their head. Either way, Bliss's last attack coming in here. Got to make some magic happen. Someone asked, by the way, what's your favourite game of the Major so far?
The one we just did earlier today, I think.
Yeah, true, actually. BDS Kag was sick.
Very good.
Very good.
Very fun. On this.
I'd cast it again. Oh, they heard us apparently on the mics. So we were screaming a lot.
Right.
That's why my voice is chalked.
Yeah, have you heard us?
Yeah, I'm
well, probably.
croaking.
They just said they did.
They did, yeah.
3-2.
These things called microphones exist. You're wearing one right now.
Now, Bliss, even if they get this third round, they're probably a little bit behind the curve of what you want to achieve here on your Chalet. DarkZero have done a decent job at stretching and stressing them, and remember how abysmal's a very heavy word, but there wasn't
It's another trench push coming on here as well.
Yeah, that they enjoyed about this last time round. They couldn't get rid of NJR from the shield position, or at least tried with their face, which didn't really net them any rewards. They're able to get the hatch open. There's a bit of a fight that might be coming across. I'm not sure if Nafe, what floor he's on. No, he is all the way in the basement.
It's the same sort of thing, though, coming out of Bliss, right? They want to push in on this top side. They want trench control. They want dining hatch. That hatch is open. The key thing to watch out for is the EMPs from Sage and the nades in the back pocket of Brendo. That's the combo they need to unsettle NGR from behind his shield, assuming, of course, the shield is in the same place. I haven't quite seen it yet, but I imagine it is. In fact, yes, it is. I can see him on it right now. Thank you very much, Observer. I believe we've got Sky for this game, actually, observing for us, which is lovely.
The Australian
There's the
dream.
EMP and the nade. Oh, I like the movement. He's going to push. If he gets a freebie here, this is... No, that is so smart, NGR. Oh, my God. I would have your babies. What a man.
Brendo gone. NJR stocked up and ready. A man with fancy glasses that's not really affected by this, but they have dropped the hatch to the left-hand side and just pushed their way around. Sage gets 1, gets 2. So 3 versus 3, and they've rested some of the sight control, but they don't quite have the confidence to plant. So instead, caught by a shotgun, but not more than that. 2 versus 2, get the BP and get yourself a little pocket of space. You know that one's about to come down. And you push them further back. The grenade is the catch. A great play from Oda, but a great play from Bolo. A 1 versus 1. Bolo versus Fishogai, and he doesn't know where it's going down. Almost caught there by Fishogai. The blind comes out, the pre-fire angle, but Bolo knows where the route is out, and he takes it, and that gives Fishogai a chance to rotate, get himself to a new position, give himself more to work with, and an even half.
How on earth have they got that? That's weird.
Great analysis.
That half was something else. That feels like a fever dream. But Nafe kind of sold his teammate out there. Nafe's job as the pillar player was to protect NJR's backside and not let them shoot the booty. What happens? Sage drops hatch, runs forward, looks left, shoots NJR. And I'm like, Nafe? And then he swings. And it's a little bit late at that point. And that's the real thing that broke the back of that defense, because otherwise NJR again has played it brilliantly. I said I'd have his children. I probably still would. But Sage has really come in there and broken that dream apart for me. Nafe, you are not going to be the godfather. I'm sorry.
3 apiece, though. And this is where we might be able to see a little bit of growth here. I'm not entirely specifically sure of the numbers, but Chalet is generally decent for attacking teams that like to build behind it, and they're on a team. This is the thing what I talked about at the very beginning, the Monty. And the control of the space that Canadian sort of commands with it. In the words of Demo, one of the best multiplayers he's seen. Now, he's gone off at this time.
I thought you were about to say Demo, one of the best multiplayers in the world.
Demo is not one of the best multiplayers in the scene. But if I say that he said Canadian is one of the best, then the responsibility of me being right or wrong is shifted onto Demo. isn't going to do it this time round. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it. What he does is sort of acts as a front line that pushes people into a crossfire set up between NJR, Pamba, and Bolo, and it's a very effective stratagem. Here, with how close this site is and the preparation for the hop out, they're going to do the busy work. Get control above, the hatch is reinforced, nobody's playing the slip position. They're not going to be immediate towards it.
I think this time around the difference really is that we haven't seen too much focus on Library when we've had Bliss attacking. They've really favoured pushing in on the Solar side of things, getting control of Trophy, for example, and working their way from the top side down. Admittedly, in the first round, they were sort of forced to do that without the hard breach, but you've seen the exact opposite out of DarkZero, who have started themselves with some Library control. I think that we're very used to seeing. They love running Capitao here. I think that's even a couple of years ago. We'd often see Canadian on the Capitao and instead looking to get himself out on the office balcony and trying to catch out or burn through the player that sat on mezzanine behind a shield. There is no such player here for that because there are no shields in the back pocket of any of these Bliss players. None brought along for the round, so they can't play up on mezzas maybe comfortably as we're used to seeing. Thank you very much, Sky. And so for now, there's more dug back. They're more looking to play the denial game and more looking in towards those 3 C4s they've got sat in pocket, Emmy. That'll be where the real damage comes from here, and that's what DarkZero needs to be mindful of.
Quick play with the breach onto the single prep wall, and the response to be opening the mirror window. It means you can play it a little bit from inside, but it's such a dangerous position to be in. Not sure if the hatch is probably still reinforced at this point, but it's also a lot of soft, a lot of angles. There it is, and Fisher Guy's position can easily be fished out if they get a whiff of his play and a whiff of his place. There's also a drone hole not too far away. There's the whiff, there's the reveal, and there's NJR getting 2. Sage and Oda caught out.
On,
Bolo's in, there's 2. They got the trade. Send it.
And
Double
Bolo's not dead. Not bad at all. Really good execute coming in. I was worried when they didn't make the move. NJR gets 2 kills, and that should really be the trigger for these next 2 to jump in, because at that point, the player that's holding the angle is the one who should then be looking away. Okay, where's NJR? Is he pushing me? You capitalise on that distraction. So, not quite the cleanest push through, but they've got the job done. They've brought down 4 players into a 3 versus 1, unless, of course, they can get Bolo up, which I think they might just not bother for now, and they're looking to close things out. But I'm looking at the plant. Surely it should be going down sometime soon. Wettables almost had a freebie there.
Well, that's it. There was something that was pinging them. They were all desperately running around trying to find. Wettables had the vertical, and
hey,
well, they didn't have anything else. NJR, big round on the lead-in, got the opening 2, and then found that one towards the end. But yeah, there was whatever it was that was pinging them. They did a little bit of secondary shotgun fishing, and it didn't net a result. It works 2 ways, vertical control, and it wasn't something that DarkZero wanted to retake, but they had to try and find whatever it was that was spotting them first.
Yeah, again, I think DarkZero played that really smart in sense of isolating a single part of the map they really wanted. They didn't care about what was going on up towards the north side. They didn't want to run into any of those C4s that were roaming around below from Bliss. You had a couple of them running around through kitchen and dining, waiting to hear the footsteps above to collect their freebies, but nothing was given. It's almost very kind of VP-esque in a way, and we see this a lot from Virtus Pro in EU. It's only control the parts of the map that you need to get the job done. For them, that was looking in towards kitchen, and it was in towards library and in towards that front fireplace. And beyond that, they didn't care about the rest of the map. So kept it very simple, got in, got the job done, and NJR in particular, finding himself 3 kills there, absolutely massive. Now we've got Canadian probably stepping over towards playing on that Monty. We spoke about it earlier on. I think on the very first game of this whole competition, we had both a Blitz and a Monty ban coming out in the first game. Shields being incredibly powerful in the current meta. Very impressive, very aggressive. Yes, even Monty, as slow as he is.
Yeah, and again, expect Canadian to be trying to get into their faces. He uses Monty as he uses his voice in the game. Loud, oppressive, and shouting things at people that are a little bit further away from him. He tries to really drive it. And I'm also curious to see the drive of the use of the Deimos. It wasn't massively impactful directly in terms of kills when Bliss were bringing it, but as the approach starts here over the back, they've got the Grim, they've already got themselves a I don't know if I would call it full Solarium control because they don't trust it, but inside trophy towards the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
This could be very quick here if Bliss aren't keenly aware of what's happening.
Solar's the hardest thing to get. The hardest thing about Solar control is getting people inside the map to then take it over, because otherwise you've got 2 windows you've got to swing in from, right? It's absolute chaos. You're liable just to be getting swung on and taken out. So having that trophy control below becomes really important, which then requires West main control and kitchen control. And Brendo's looking to make sure they haven't got that control established anymore. Steps in for the one, but Pamba puts him in the dirt.
Well, there's a bit of wiggle room and width. And there's
two-man
a great
swing.
take, but Oda gets one, cannot get the second. Pamba refrags and exactly where he was. There's that game from DarkZero again, punishing Bliss.
Oh, there's the shield.
Hey, you found the shield, and they said he likes to get in people's faces, but apparently people like to get in his face too. They have themselves still this control. Bolo, he's watching underneath. They have the window player, but look at the line of Wettables and Fisho guy. Between the pair of them, they have the watch on both entrances.
Oda was really pushing to become Odin downstairs. Then when the two came swinging in, I thought, man, he should be dead to rights. Almost gets that second onto Pamba, but he's really hit two big shots to make sure his team have got that downstairs control retained. That means all of these guys now focusing on Solar can just carry on with what they've got to do. And I tell you what, Troy is feeling himself. He's like, I don't care. I'm marching at your face.
I told you.
I'm coming for some skulls.
I warned you all. This is how he likes to play this operator. You know, at that point, the two remaining Bliss players were doing the right decision, losing two on the attempted retake. They had an idea what was happening. They maybe thought it was coming a bit quicker than it intended because DarkZero got that position very quickly, but then didn't push much beyond it. They waited. And because that was the game that they wanted to play in, so you wonder, obviously, if the rotate had come down blue, round, up west main stairs instead, if the two of them might have been caught from that situation, they were surrounded, ultimately.
The key thing to highlight here as well is just how badly Bliss are getting battered on the entry across the last 7 rounds. They haven't found a single one. Round 1 they got it, which was that wacky round. They came out on top there and really made what looked like a mess come out and work in their favor. But since then in the early rounds, we've just not seen them really being the ones to get the jump on the side of DarkZero, to catch them out, to then capitalize on the numbers advantage. And I think if they can focus on that, it's easy saying, just get the first kill, why not, lol. It ain't quite that easy. But I think if they can focus on trying to get some control in the early round, or at the very least trading out those kills, because they haven't traded a single entry kill from DZ across those 7 that I mentioned. That shows that they're just kind of losing players early on for silly reasons, in silly ways that they don't need to be doing. And if they want to get control of this game back in their favor, well, it needs to start now. You've had your tack timeout, that magical tack timeout that we have seen so many times at this competition that can turn favors around. Still got DarkZero, of course, on the attacking side, and I swear to God, if the glass comes along, then yep, I give the round to Bliss already.
Don't we always have that sort of statistic floating around somewhere of how successful the immediate round is after a timeout? Or after a... I know it was...
I haven't got the stat. I really wanted to collect this and try and get this info, but I can't collect the info enough to find out when attack timeout gets called through. But across the competition, I think I've only seen 2 rounds after attack timeout so far lost by the team that called the attack timeout. Every other time, it's then gone on to be successful, in most cases, for multiple rounds. Coach Diff.
Let's see if the Coach Diff can prove itself. Now, obviously, Bliss's map here, but you know, when you're staring at Labs, a map that can be competitive, we could still, regardless of whether this goes to or away from Blitz, see 3 maps.
Oh yeah, Nighthaven's going to be a screamer, absolute guaranteed, no matter which way it goes. It'll be a really good game. Hey, there's the entry I was talking about, thank God, and there's no response from DZ, perfect. What I think they've probably read in there is that this hatch control becomes really important for both teams if they're attacking this top side. They've had the read, the north side was the focus, so hey, let's get aggressive inside of dining. Let's get the contest down. They've got rid of a couple of drones, they've got a player, so now Brendo can quite safely just drop away back in towards site and play happily there. Good stuff.
And obviously the removal of the Flores, if you're thinking about the problems that might have been taken out of it, the shield swings that have been so impactful for the holds here and the defenses of DarkZero is something that are a little bit safer. There's obviously no grenades to sort of find their way around. You've got to either try and get pellets on them or just throw yourself at them. We've seen how well that goes. Monty making friends up on the top floor, and the friends don't want to see what happens next. Are they running because it's Canadian or because Montaigne is French? I don't know.
It's not like you can half ignore Monty anymore like you used to be able to. You could leave him in a corner of the room and go, okay, well, he's not really going to be a threat. He's going to feed info. And if he drops his shield to try and challenge me, cool, no problem. These days, when he can run at you and just down you and really be a significant offensive threat, you can't quite ignore him the same way that you used to. So I actually love that we're seeing Canadian lean into it so much and really look to abuse it. We've seen so many bans of Monty at the competition, and this is probably going to be a good example of why, a good showcase so far as to why. Fair credit to Bliss, though, they have chewed through basically every drone on the other side, only 3 left standing, though at this point, the Canadian is basically a walking drone feeding this information back and forth.
He's tucked himself close, so he doesn't get entirely swung on, but it's a little bit of an awkward pass he's got to make here. He's trusting that there's the watch on from the left-hand side of Pamba, I believe. Just making sure that, well, this could happen, actually. Swings their way around. It's NJR. And
cute play, man. Like it.
Gets the first, gets the next bit of pressure here.
Another flash, why not?
Blinds come out, gets them a second to pull the goo mine out, but they've been able to wrest some control, and they're eyeing up the plant spot just next to it. The smoke canisters, good utilization as we start to have all of Bliss rotate their way around and try and be ready for this. There's no counter pressure currently coming through. 30 seconds is a little bit of time to rotate, but do they want to risk it?
They got a smoke left there as well. I was going to say, this is what you can find him doing, is just set up on this corner and you're all good. But they've lost NGR on the back line. Bolo's then got in though. All eyes are fixed on Amonti, and Bolo goes, yeah, I'll have some of that. Gets in there, collects a two. Brendo left all alone here against two players still on their feet. One of them being a shield user. Yeah, good luck.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing that will be is to just pull out the planter.
Ow! What can you do about that?
Not much.
It's horrible. Horrible.
Not much.
Ugh.
Because you either have to pre-aim at the feet of the Monty.
Good luck. When he's like right in front of your face as well, right?
Or you have to aim at, I don't know, Bolo over his shoulder.
Ugly, I guess. Just so unfortunate.
This is why I said at the start of this, during the map ban phase and the operator ban phase even, will they ban Monty?
They should have.
And they probably will next map.
But the thing is, again, like, every team can be fearful of a Monty given how strong he is. Like, I've heard a few of the analysts say every team should be playing Monty right now. Like, every team, without failure. But at least in this case, only one team has opted to play it. Guess who's getting the wins? Because he did do a lot in that round as well. You know, although they lost that first early death, again, this is what I spoke about before, about sometimes teams have players get a little too far ahead of the curve and they pay the price for it. But Canadian then really set himself up as the front line. You know, the plant was going in behind him, for example. He was the one pushing inside a trench. He was looking to cover NJR, who unfortunately got downed, managed to get him back up anyway, and then turn around and win the closing kill. So much of that pressure came off the back of Canadian, who now hits double digits, it's worth stressing, playing on a Monty. Gone are the days of seeing a Monty being like 3 and 10 because he can never get any kills. Here, seeing him being 10 and 3. Great performance so far, and this is the last round for Bliss to try and eke anything back here. Get a couple of rounds back on side because it is looking rough.
I mean, at this point, again, you know, what do you sort of bring into this? They've lost the round on the back of their timeout. They got the advantage on it and still lost it, and that makes that sort of pain of losing it even tighter.
Man, there are a lot of Canadian haters in the chat. I don't know why they're all so upset.
Probably Australians.
Watershed, B-Stream, last game. It's unhinged, it's carrying on. A lot of haters. Don't be hating. Man's 10 and 3. He's about to drag his team through this first map unless Bliss can do something magic.
Well, this is the thing. No, because they got the magical opening last time round, didn't they? And it didn't quite net them the results. So what do? Do they try and double down? Do they try and send that extension even further around the map? They got a bit of a surprise onto Pamba, but Pamba, think about the position he was in, was already sort of eking his way out of dining, round the corner, eyes towards the site. So he was dabbling with danger.
I think it's the kind of shot earlier that I thought would have put, was it Pamba who went down? I forget. I think it was Nath who downed him in the end is what we concluded, but I thought it was also that kind of shot that would have put him down earlier in that round where we were a little bit perplexed as to what was going on. Either way, for now at least all 10 players still alive inside of the server. I think more for DarkZero, it's about getting themselves set up. In fact, very reminiscent of what we saw from the defenses of DarkZero earlier, where you've got DZ dug in towards, Bliss dug in towards the southwest side of the map, all around Library, all around site itself, and then you've got DarkZero trying to work their way through the top. Don't want to get themselves C4'd out, so they're also making sure to clear in below. But here comes Big Bad Canadian. He's inside a lobby on the Monty.
I mean, look, he'll just try and push his way up the stairs, and then he gets caught by a C4. Well played, Wettables, and well played, Sage. Has the cross. Baited him in. Oops.
I don't think I'll have his kids anymore.
NJR, it's back and forth with you. I'm sure you'll fall in love moments ago. Wet tables. Mops him up, but at least Nath finds one. However, Nath and Bolo, Nath massively injured, very separated, and the kit, look at where it is, horrifyingly just held in the middle of a stair set that they can get as a very easy watch from 2 stories, 15 million different angles and rooms. That's
going nowhere, realistically. It's well played by Bliss. I think the spring into action that we saw coming out of them, because I said for 7 rounds in a row, we didn't see them find the entry. Yeah, that's not good. And so they have no... What the... No way. Just no way. No, come on. Stop it. Come on. Let's leave it there. Let's stop. Let's all breathe a moment. Let's not throw. Thank God. Thank the Lord. Bolo is still up though, and sure enough, they got a crossfire. Thank God, because that would have been a fitting end to this match that has felt like chaos from start to finish.
If that had gone away from them, that would have, regardless of...
That one tap is filth, man.
It would have been one of those rounds that carried over into the next map. It would have been that sort of removed from it. They hold on, but it shouldn't have started to get worrying.
No.
They've pulled a side off. They've been able to get...
you know what someone said to you on the last game earlier?
Yep.
When I did that whole like sound effect, they were like, can you move your mic away before you're sick, please?
Yeah, what a mistake you made there.
I'm doing it for emphasis.
Oops.
Emphasis. Kitchen dining for round 11 then. Bliss, still 2 rounds to claw back here, but doesn't feel so impossible, to be fair. If they play it in that last round where they can jump into action, they can push out and find those entries, they can catch DarkZero a bit isolated. I think what really triggered it in the last round was realizing, oh, Canadian's kind of alone. The rest of his team are trying to still push through the north side. He's working his way upstairs here. We'll take him out for free, no problem at all. And he gets pinched by the players that were in such close proximity, one upon Mez, one inside of sight. He's shut down, and the terror that was Monty is then removed away from them. And I think in this round, he's like, you know what? Had enough now, time to change away. Goes across onto the ace for this attack.
At this point, it still doesn't feel like we've started to hit the proper pace of where this game is getting into, which is a little bit odd. Because we know what these teams are capable of, and we know that it's, you know, one game between them and a live stage. For Bliss, it could be huge. It could be them finally breaking through and finding that sort of curve. For DarkZero, they've done it before. They've done it on the most recent, biggest stage, where Canadian drew the ire of 10,000 Brazilians.
Not the place to be doing it, is it, really?
I can imagine the British will give him the same reception.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm ready for it. There's the beautiful international nature of this game. You've got 2 Brits casting an Aussie team and an NA team throwing down.
In Manchester.
In Manchester. All places.
Steady approach. Eyes around Solarium. Again, they're sort of being fairly direct towards what they want to get the lockdown. There is an Iana that's a bit loose, and really the only loose thread for now. Checking as many corners as possible, but it's Bolo, so you sort of let him cook to his own devices. In fact, as I said, that Canadian has rotated his way around towards the balcony. Let's see if he can try and find the route through. A quick and easy breach. Nothing was really contesting this, but again, think about where the side is. This is the pressure onto the vertical, and it's created that pressure across. Now, Bolo can either try and use these angles to pinch out the Frost if he wants, but it creates a phantom pressure that allows this on the top end. Solarium. The eyes are coming in, the pressure comes across. There's Sage getting the first, but the response from Bolo on towards the back end.
Filth, like literally from one end of the map to the other there. You've got 2 kills taking place and someone caught in the crossfire, bang in the middle. Sage, in that case, I thought for a second that was a hipfire that got that kill. I would have cried, but no, it was Nafe who got the side swipe instead. Wetterballs trades one back the other way, and it's down now to an advantage for Bliss, but straight, not 2 rounds in a row. It was NJR now, and now it's Nafe. What's going on?
Oops, Frost.
Come on.
It's all Frost. Big bad Canadian. He did mess up a Selma there, unfortunately, which didn't give them the wiggle room and the width. On towards the dining table, has to enter, and he knew where they were, but that didn't really change his fate. 6-3 to 4-5. Now, as Bliss didn't get the immediate one after their timeout, but have since found enough to start fighting back in.
Yeah, it's that battle back that's been the big one across those last 3 rounds. Every entry being taken, whereas again before that, 7 rounds in a row, DarkZero were finding the entries. So we have seen Bliss come to life. We have seen them start taking the fight back, and it's enough that it's forced a timeout out of DarkZero. At 6-5, they know they want to get this round done. Otherwise, it's OT. And again, for a game that started out so weird, I really thought we'd see them get this one done and over the finish line. However, that 6-3 scoreline is looking like a bit of a curse for them now, as Bliss in striking distance to pull this one back, take us to overtime. There's a bit of a bop, innit? Someone was saying like there was like real like low for yes, Sam.
Vibing.
Producer Sam, of course, joining us here on the B stream.
Love.
Done a great job all week, in fact. He has ran this whole B stream by himself all week. What an absolute legend.
Imagine if one of us was left in charge.
Oh.
Horrible, terrible. Would all fall apart.
I'd designate it to you, and then it would all fall apart. And I'd just say it was all your fault. I abdicate from responsibility.
Advocate?
Abdicate.
Abdicate.
Abdicate from any responsibility. Advocate for responsibility, yeah, for you to take the responsibility of me to go blameless.
Big Bad Nadian, still on the Big Bad Montanian now, but they've got themselves...
Go on, throw another Enian in there, something, go on.
Bolo is on a glass, Zanian.
Okay.
Cursed. I can hear Fabian shouting.
Holy shit, he's going off.
He's doing another
Whoa,
one.
he's doing the... This is how GT started their win to win SI last time round.
Oh my god, alert the press.
He was proper going off.
Yeah,
wow. What's happening over there?
We heard that on the far side.
I'm not being funny, but they've made a really impressive run, Talon have.
They're against FaZe.
What's the score?
That's the idea of...
Okay, it's 5. I'm guessing it's about to be 6-3 to FaZe in this case on the second map. They already won the first one 7-3.
Yep.
That'll be 6-3, but that was like bit of a kick in. That one I think they're about to finish and completely can't see it right
yeah.
now. But yeah, that was...
I was just seeing how they were...
Did you hear that, Lax?
Gabe, Laxing has just walked past.
That was Fabian going off, right? Did you not hear it? Are you deaf?
Lax is in his own world.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, you're all good.
Well, we'll get back into DZ and Bliss there after the little update about what you might have heard spill through.
Monkey S.
And it is...
I don't want Fabian scaring at me like
very
that.
big preparation. Now, remember, the last time they made this approach here, heavy onto Solarium, they got the control of the position and then punished people rotating their way back round. Bliss probably aren't going to fall for that same trap, so they're not going to play into that same trap. They are much more centric around the top floor already. Anything that includes them getting back to site is across the top, across rafters. They've only really got, I think, one player down underneath. It's Brendo. Otherwise, they are all centered off towards the second story. And that's going to sort of force DarkZero to have to make the first move up here onto Solarium. Now they have a shield. Perfect for it, but you expect it.
Remember what I spoke about earlier when they were attacking into Baron Gaming? They took that very narrow slice of the map and said, this is all we need to make a plant happen. I wouldn't be wholly shocked to see a similar thing coming in. They've got Nath ready for a little bit of like a backstab on the office balcony here just to give a bit of pressure from the other side. But all the focus really is... In fact, no, I thought he was on the other side of the map. No, maybe not. Depth perception was not my forte, apparently. But I thought he was down towards on balcony, ready to jump in the fun. But here he's ready to play on windows, so they're keeping this really narrow and tight.
I mean, that's it, right? What do they really have right now? The pressure onto the mirror windows comes through. Big Bad Nadian starts to try and roll his way through the bathroom. And it's the crossfire official guy that gets one and then gets dropped by Montaigne. Bolo does find Wedables on the back end as Brendo tries to step himself back into bathroom and put the pressure on towards Solarium. Now, the Monty is currently alone with the kit and, well, Canadian just keeps on pushing. He's getting the reveals for his team, finding out what's safe alongside the Bees. Can tuck and maybe go for a plant, but crossfire's all over the shop. And it is DarkZero to find that final bit of spice.
Yes.
To push that game over. It was slow, but that sort of altogether effort was just enough. Oh, and a Montaigne, as it always is.
That's always the duality of defenses. Are you willing to kind of swing and take a couple of gunfights? Because if you swing and die, you feel like a bit of an idiot. But the problem there is they were playing so passively on the side of Bliss that it was too easy for those couple of players dancing around that Monty to rotate from looking in towards bedroom to then looking in towards bathroom and then catching someone on the swing. And they had no idea it was coming. Bliss ultimately paid the price there. However, as messy as that game started for them, they did battle it back in. They were down 6-3. They brought it back right to the brink. 7-5 is definitely no score to turn your nose up. I'm sure Bliss can bounce back here. We've got labs to go into for our second map, so let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll line up for that. Jubilation for DarkZero after map 1. Chalet maybe not quite the way they anticipated it going. Bliss putting up a really good fight, I think, for the most part. Started out a little bit crazy in that first half and things started to settle down. Canadian really doing some big work on the Monty as well, which you'd expect leads to a ban going into Nighthaven Labs of that operator, but we may yet be surprised. I'm Des, this is Emmy,
Hello.
This is the match summary. What do you got for me based on those stats that you can see on your screen?
First of all, if they don't ban the Monty, they're trolling. Second of all, I mean, hey, look, Bowler, huge game alongside Canadian. He led all of the charges pretty much, and you sort of cited the entry statistic. You sort of cited a lot. If we were at the 6-3 point, it feels a bit weird to say.
I think they got 5. Oh, they maybe
the stats would have looked very, very different. A lot of the positives on the side of Bliss sort of came after that fact. They did rally brilliantly, but too little, too late. And that's that sort of problem now, is when they're building up into the second map, a map that both of them can play, do they have that energy, or is it now sort of DarkZero? Let's be honest, they were a little bit cruise control last map.
They were, I think, until they weren't. Coming off the Monty proved to be a bad idea, was the main takeaway that I took from it. I think it didn't work for 1 round, so they thought, let's try something else, and realised, oh god, after the attack timeout, yeah, back to the Monty, and we'll get this one seen and over the line. So, as mentioned, I think that should be a ban really coming into Nighthaven from Bliss. If they're not going to play it themselves, then it's definitely worth taking off the board. Completely understand they don't want to play against the Ying, which I think their ban was on that previous map. You know, I get it. DarkZero like playing that operator as well, so I'm with them on that thought. But I think the Monty has just shown why he needs to be taken away. And that reminder, if we have to get there, that third map is Cafe as our decider. But Labs for me was the one that I was really excited about. 1, haven't cast it yet so far since I've been here, so I'm excited about that. But 2, it is the favourite map for both of these teams. We have like a whole formula that looks at when does someone ban a map, when is it banned against them, at what point is it played, records, all kind of good stuff to give us like a preference score for the map. How much does the team really want to play it? And for both of these teams, Nighthaven is right up there at the top. I think it's second for Bliss, but only by a couple of points. So it's basically a favourite. So for either team, they're like, you know what? We know we're going there at some point. It's either going to be the decider or it's going to be a pick for one of us. And DC said, well, it may as well be the pick.
Yeah, it throws itself into this mix right now, right? Because we had this conversation earlier where you are picking into somebody's best map and you're saying, we do this better than you. Now we're picking into a map that they both know they do well and saying, let us brawl. It's like just hammering. First round, ding, ding, ding. All right, start smacking the hell out of each other.
For all those salty Troy haters in chat, a lot of you are getting in behind DarkZero this game. If the shield's available.
Bolo lovers versus Troy haters.
Maybe it's the Bolo lovers. Yeah, trying to balance it out in
Nath
equilibrium.
lovers.
And
MJR and Panda lovers.
GG, they banned the Ying. Game over. Nah, it's not quite that clear cut. Maybe they've got an answer on this map for the Monty. They feel they could deal with it. I don't know, but either way, this might prove to be a little bit of an issue. DZ probably also going to find themselves banning out once again the Dakabi and the Azami. It is the go-to expectation on every single map. Yes.
Did you see their response in chat was, hi Troy, because they expected the Monty ban. We all expected the Monty ban. Maybe. Maybe there's a secret Ying.
They're baiting him into it now. They feel they've got the answer. They've got the solution.
And Troy just said respect.
Yeah. Respect for leaving it up. Now I'm about to fry you. Have fun. Same bans.
Dakabi and Azami, again, the fun thing, if you look at the ban statistics, the only thing that this year, in terms of calendar games of Siege that DarkZero have played, they banned one operator that wasn't Dakabi and Azami. It was Jaeger, because somebody already banned Azami.
Yeah. I think the same happened to VP. VP have their same 2 static bans of Ying, and I forget who their defender ban normally is. I want to say it's like Solus or something. But similar story for them. There was only one game they didn't ban the defender they usually ban. That's because someone else banned it. It just keeps on happening. But either way, even with being able to read into DarkZero's banning strategy, Bliss struggled on map 1. Maybe they can do something different here on map 2. Going to start things out up on that top floor inside of servers and see how things shake down. Bliss starting the defense. You would argue that gives them the early advantage, but when both teams love this map as much as they do, the attacks will certainly be no slouch.
All right, let's get ourselves thrown in here and see if we can confirm either the next team moving in towards the live stages that all you lovely pretty people out there with tickets will get to see and say things and scream at and yada yada, or we will have ourselves a third map and another dip back into the hells and the hallowed halls of Rainbow Six Siege. We had a long 3-mapper earlier which started with a decisive first map.
Yes.
Could this be?
That last map wasn't very decisive though. It was still close at 7 and 5, even if a little bit strange. I think in terms of the fashion it played out, it was very strangely paced. I do agree. Either way, as we said, this first round is up on that top floor. So what are we expecting to see here? Well, you got a couple of options, and normally it involves a mix of these all coming together. You can put a big focus on IT and inside a garage. You can have yourself coming in from the northeast side of things as well and putting a lot of focus up there instead. That does kind of revolve working through Connector, a very strangely named room, because it's not very much of a connector. And you also want to look towards Aqua Stairs, up towards the northwest of your screen, and normally that involves a backstab later into the round of some description. So keep an eye out for those things. Those are the three areas where normally attackers start off with some kind of focus point, but Troy's in, he's rushing in inside of Electric, charging his way in towards the site already. I can see him on the top down, and he's gone and can die. That's unfortunate. However, for now, they've found themselves a number of kills, but Bliss have held out.
I was going to say, pretty much everybody's died, but Bliss have died a little bit less. They have themselves in the 3-2 situation, but there's still a fight inside the site itself. They pushed themselves up, 3 versus 1. There's a smoke canister, and there's a Bliss opening round. They tried something there. They tried to cook DarkZero, but they got cooked themselves.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt, an early one from DarkZero to just get a rush out the gate, I guess, and try and catch Bliss off guard. Maybe they weren't fully prepared for it, and they're hoping to shut them down. And Canadian bolted immediately inside Electric window, and he was the one charging in towards site that I thought, oh god, if he really manages to cause chaos here, it's all going to go off. But they didn't quite manage to get away with it. And just as a quick shout, a welcome to the A-Stream viewers.
Hello. We're back.
Well,
we were there
we are
earlier.
back. We were there a few hours ago. Your series has been bloody quick. I missed...
Every series that hasn't been us today
has been quick.
Has been so quick.
Yep. We did have a real banger. It
was so good, though.
It was 15 rounds on both the last 2 maps. This one started out 7-5, so not quite the 7-2 that we had on Cafe on that first map earlier on. And now we're into Nighthaven Labs, which, in case you didn't know, is both of these two teams' most preferred maps. So it's quite odd to see it making it here and getting picked up. More like a decider is what you would come to expect, but it does mean we're in for a pretty good game.
Now, I cast DarkZero on this map a few days ago against Scars. I say a few days ago, time is a blur at a major, but it was very decisive then from the side of DZ as well. They loved the pressure that they could put in. They built, again, those sort of crossfires around the front of a Monty that isn't so immediate on its usage here on the second round, but there's always time. There's always time. If you haven't really watched DarkZero play much, they're very good with it, so good with it. They won about 5 rounds in the previous map, built just behind the Monty.
It does make you wonder, if people start banning it away, then what happens? And when I saw it in the last round, I thought the Blitz was prepping anyway in case the Monty wasn't going to be a thing for them. Both shields are really strong, and as I mentioned before, in some of the earlier games of the tournament, we saw both the Blitz and the Monty being taken away. G2 at one time even ran 3 shields just to be incredibly obnoxious. So shields overall are strong. It's not like you have to have Monty, just if there's like a tier list of shield operators in particular, Monty sits at the top as an S tier.
The breach isn't quite immediate. They've got the single wall and angles towards Animus to slowly get some width, but for that you need obviously the hatch control, you need garage rafters, and well, there's an Australian currently up there, happy, enjoying themselves. In fact, most of them are up there at this point. They've still got a very stretched out hold. They've still got a lot of space to play with here, and with the Oryx they can get themselves around nipped quite quickly. The next breach happens above, but at this point, you're sort of thinking, okay, are they just going to try and send it through the single Animus wall? And will they be stopped in time? What is going to be that direct action that can otherwise cut this in half? Here goes the motion of Canadian. Here's 2 drones working ahead of him. They're not entirely dedicated as of yet, but that gun 6 will sort of maybe point out, all right, let's start acting around the top of the hatch. Let's start trying to put some pressure in. They pull back out. And the C4 doesn't quite connect with anyone, but it's down to the 2 players not at that door, which I think is Nafe
and someone else.
Pamba.
They're watching for the vertical play from the hatch, right, which I understand. A good rounding, actually, and Sage has broken that open, which now really, I was going to say it threatens the downstairs, but Sage just swung the hatch, and they were just ready. Pamba getting one more back for himself as well, and now the Capital can spring into action, looking for this plant to go down, but still, they've got that vertical cover. Fish is just waiting for someone to step through, looking to see what he can find, and with all the gadgetry coming out, I don't think he'll find too much. Troy will go down here. Diffuser on the ground. Can the rest of DarkZero recover this one out in the 3 versus 3? They get the C4 out on top, Fish into another one as well. Bliss, it looks like so far, are holding back this stem of aggression coming out from DarkZero. Round 1 and this round, they've controlled it incredibly well.
I mean, again, a little bit of question around the take itself. They sort of saw this opportunity, didn't trust the opportunity fully. They did only really need to get a little bit of control of the verticality, but maybe they didn't know how much was dedicated up there. Obviously, Nath lost the first engagement directly above the hatch. They then dropped that player, but it is just a 1 versus 2 above, even if it is a Deimos in that situation. And that goes away from you, so does everything else. Bliss, they only needed to react to that one wall as well. Think about it, they didn't get the breach open. There was never any pressure that came down Exhibition side. There was never any pressure that came down Cargo side. It was very solely focused, and that's kind of easy to prepare for.
It's, again, that DarkZero tactic we spoke about quite a bit back on Chalet. It's about taking control of what you need and really nothing more. They felt that if they could hold the hatch cover, it would make sure no one could kill them from above. Didn't really, like you say, consider Fisher and where he was holding as well, that he did have good angles to be able to aggress onto them if they were going to try and make a plan happen. I don't know if they were relying on the cover of the smoke to make things work for them there, or if they just thought we can win the reverse angle, or it's simply a non-factor, but they have paid that price by not trying to clear out any deeper than that. Bliss off to a flying start so far. Again, I know the rounds have come down to being at least close to some degree, but I'd say overall they've handled the aggression out of DarkZero really well. They don't look too surprised by anything that's come at them yet. I can see them taking this 3-0 to start things off, at which time you tend to expect a tactical timeout coming in from the other side.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Okay, they're keeping the site rotation.
A-Stream's gone. Guys, we can have a party again now.
Woo! Bye, A-Stream. Well, they can't hear me. They've left. All right.
They're gone.
B-Stream stands for better stream.
Yeah.
Badass stream.
Yeah. What else?
Buddy, what a great stream.
What about the Bliss stream?
I mean, that's down to Bliss, baby.
How many Aussies are in the chat? What time is it in Aussie land right now? Like about 6 AM?
I don't know. James is just eternally tired.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame him. If I was from Australia, I'd be eternally tired as well.
True.
You know, dodging those snakes and alligators and
Falling
spiders.
from the sky.
Yeah.
2-0. That's what's trained them for this. What prepares you more for Canadian than killing snakes? That's for the Canadian
It's supposed to be at the
haters
same
in chat.
time as Sam and I. I'm so confused.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's 4 AM in Australia right now.
All right.
I made it. Fair play to the listeners in the chat then.
Specifically for Canadian haters inside the chat.
I see.
I actually love Canadian. I've been out to brunch with them.
Yeah. I like Canadian.
2 minutes left on the clock. Regardless of your feelings of the players, nobody has found the hatred enough to try to find and kill at this point. But they still have a good stretch and extension above. They've not been forced out of the verticality. They've still got the sort of mirror windows looking down across towards Garage. So as that breach gets open, sure, it cuts a bit of a sight line, but nothing really more than that at this point. There's Pamba hopefully fishing for some Deimos kills underneath, but again, there's not a force on the pressure. There's not something that's making the Bliss players feel uncomfortable yet. DarkZero is focusing on their take rather than where Bliss players are.
It's more about the deny on the wall that I was looking at a second ago as well. Obviously, Sage here on that Bandit has got the Bandit or the Blitz. Should have confused it for the fun of it now, shall I?
Yeah.
And the Bandit, of course, is that wall denial coming through. Just again, putting up another small obstacles for DZ to try and work through. But we're into that 2-minute point, and by the looks of it, they're trying to work their way around it. So forget about trying to work through the wall. We'll just go around it instead. It's like that good old, what is it, kids book? Can't go under it, can't go over it, I'll just go through it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. They
I can't
try
know
and
what it
cover the verticality and pop their way with the smoke canisters, and this is... it's a decision.
I know that story. What?
I probably do.
Plant's
Canadian.
going in.
Yeah, he's going to try and see if he can get it cemented. They've tucked themselves pretty brilliantly. Actually, I said I don't know if it's a good decision. They proved me wrong. What a steal that has been. And
I mean, a plant's gone down with 10 players still alive on the field, and they're still alive 10 seconds after the plant. That is the weirdest plant in the world. But like that, a flurry of kills come through. Bolo, I tell you what, he's carving through not just the enemy, but also his own team. But who cares? He's giving you a big advantage. 3v2 for DarkZero then, as Nay finds one for his team too. 3v1 for DarkZero. A nice shot from Otter coming out, but I'm afraid he hasn't really got the time here. 10 seconds to go until it's too late to start that defuse, and neither player left on DarkZero are going to give him a second. DarkZero take round 3. We're going on a bear hunt, that's it.
oh,
They see, chat knows and you don't. You are so uncultured.
sorry.
We're going on a bear hunt. You ever like sang that at school?
I think I have,
You must have.
but
But
I don't remember it.
yeah, that's like a whole like. You'd be like, I can't go over it, can't go under it. Oh no, we'll have to go through it. And you do all kinds of like stupid, like, I don't know, like actions and make silly noises if you were like swimming through a swamp or whatever it might be. Kids loved it. I love it still, clearly,
You do
apparently.
love it.
At the age of 31, I'm still remembering it.
Would you rather go? Would you rather go on a bear hunt or on a man hunt?
Ooh. Who am I hunting?
I mean, I don't finish the rest of
in most cases, a manhunt is probably the one to go for, I'd imagine.
All right.
You're getting far more trouble, but I'm not going after a bear.
It's true.
Do I look like the kind of person that can fight a bear?
I think I would feel safer with a bear. 2-1. DarkZero, they find their first, and let's talk about how it sort of happened.
We're going to catch a big one. We're not
It's
scared.
a
Chat knows it. Chat have got
hold.
this.
It's a vertical hold that was stopped and stemmed by 2 Capitao bolts. And that's that DarkZero thing. They're focusing on their push, focusing on, you know, not entirely removing players from position, but it would be one of those things you'd have to watch back. The single rotate from the top of cargo stairs, round and tuck to the left, there just wasn't anyone watching it. There was 2 Capitao bolts that were fired, and unfortunately all the people above the vertical, it doesn't matter how many people you have up there if they're not watching the one that is passed through, whether that was entirely red, whether that was just nice timing. The only one who really knows that are the ones inside the game and the calls, and it was something that was very well exploited by DarkZero.
We're getting there. Chat enjoyed your interjection about the bear hunting. Yes, we can read what you're saying, guys. So stop saying we're yapping. That's what Brits do. But we don't yap. What do we do? Because yap's like not really our word. We've adopted it, but it's not our invention.
I save my swears for important moments,
no,
but
we chat shit. Yes. That's not a big swear on. Get away with that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it, I didn't, but I like how we both set that up. And what's being set up here is the pressure on towards...
You are so desperate to bring this game back on topic, and I am so not.
One of these teams, Australia could make their first live stage for the first time in about 5 years.
Yeah, you are right. I was looking forward to that.
Since Fnatic.
Yeah.
It's such a long time.
It is a long, long time.
Things that have happened.
Pre-COVID, wow.
Carter wasn't even born yet.
Hey, don't do him like that. He ain't even here to defend himself.
No. Good.
All right, IT, opened up. Last time round, it was that big rush in from Canadian, if you remember, as well, with the Blitz, the Vault into Electric, the charge on forward, the smokes being scattered around to try and create enough distraction, I guess, for him to get in there and cause a little bit of carnage, but it didn't come off, which is why things are slowed down a little bit, at least, this time around. Not 100% sure on why we've got the IQ on side as well, with no Valkyrie being brought along by the other, but maybe more to deal with the fact they've got a few nades they want to be throwing in there as well, looking at the 2 in the back pocket of the IQ, the flashes, all that kind of good stuff, as well as the bulletproofs, which has now been sniffed out and taken down. Intel offline, but every player is still standing as we get into the last 60. Waffling, that's a good one as well.
Every single player, as you said, still standing, and FisherGuy is almost the one called out in Fish or top blue, depending on how you go for the call, but it has a shotgun and is so ready for the possibility of popping a head off. Also has the canisters, but doesn't want to be the first extension caught. Now has to focus on to replace Sage. Keep control of Rafters, but look at this. 3 players read the weakness and exploit it. A DarkZero children's book written and employed perfectly here, although that was almost huge. It was a changing
Canadian's
of
got a
the
bad
guard.
experience with stairs, but this time round comes away on top.
I mean,
They are running through them now.
And Nafe goes for the plant, goes for the cement on the back end. It is just odor. But I think the only thing he smells here is blood on this water.
DarkZero, great round there as well. Very clean. It was slow to begin with. We came down for about 2 minutes, and it reminded me a little bit of BDS and what I saw from them over the last couple of days, where things tend to start very, very slow. They get all the setup work done, and then it's like an everyone switch on. Bam! Now we're executing all at once, and it's very explosive, very confusing, and that's how they played that out. 4 players falling in very quick succession on the side of Bliss. So, DarkZero, bring things square again at 2 apiece.
It's sort of been leveled back up, and it's still got this taste of the first map. It's still got this taste of being a very weird-paced game, right? You're trying to get...
I can't put my finger on what it is, honestly. That's strange.
There's something in the air between these two where it's both got that anticipation, it's got that heat of possibility, but it's almost like questions and answers. There's a real separation between when a team seems to be active and when they're not, and it's not that anyone is tooth and nail, and maybe it's because we were spoiled by tooth and nail earlier on in the day. However,
10 seconds to insertion.
what we need right now, the intensity that we need right now, and the step back in we need right now is unfortunately on the pressure of Bliss. They're on their defense. DarkZero have gotten 2 attacks. The line of what they decide as a success probably differs against each other, but coming to this site to get it cemented. If this goes wrong, is this a timeout?
needs to be a timeout sooner than that, I think, honestly, because with the way the game has been so chaotic and uncontrolled, I feel like you just need that moment of pause to sort of get things going. I mentioned for Bliss that if you're at a spot where you're coming out not too strong on the defensive side, you're going to feel the sting a little bit. And so I think if they wanted to have a stronger control of this, maybe a little bit sooner is nice. Getting the entry is certainly a way of doing it. That was my main criticism for them back on the last map, was 7 rounds in a row. They lost the entry. Not a single one was traded out. Whereas here, at least, they've got one back on the other side, and there is no response from DZ. Bolo caught a little bit out of position on what I would normally say is a really key operator, but you've got the buck on side here for Pamba, so it's far from the end of the world. Someone was like, wow, you guys read chat. And I was like, we do read chat, yeah.
We're not supposed to.
And someone else did something really bad, like Fisher Guy, more like box like a fish, and someone was like, you are terrible.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's
good.
really bad.
And
then someone else was like, oh, these guys are coping so hard for Bliss. I'm like, we're not.
No, we're not.
I've been celebrating DZ for ages now. Still, Weatherballs off for a 2K. Maybe it will flip to Bliss now for this round. Why not? Big start for him.
For them.
Yeah. I mean, Castle, one we're talking about as well, because obviously now has the magnified scope, is an absolute demon. It's not about the UMP being a bad gun anymore, as Canadian once famously said. It's actually pretty sick now.
At this point, the 3 versus 5, and you start always thinking, well, what do the attackers still have in terms of actually utilization, the hard breach, the control of the loose players with Jackal and then the Buck? How do you formulate it to this take? Because, well, you're also up against the Clash. Kind of a nightmare for any of these three to get themselves caught on the back end. Big Bad Canadian cannot quite get anything really caught. They have the chance to do some of the structural work above, but really, this round should go pretty comfortably from this point in towards Bliss's favor. DarkZero just don't really have the utility to formulate anything too deep. Yes, they could get some of this soft done. Utilizing that on a castle window shows the sort of cost. Pamba does have a hard breach charge still in pocket, and they have some smokes, but with the man advantage going against you, you can't really try and just shove your way into sight. You have to do this. Fish on the back end. Wedables is still cooking. Gets one more. Sage goes down to the cross. Okay.
So we're throwing. Please no. That was a joke. Don't crucify me. Come on, Bliss. You've got the Clash on side. Fisher guys should be able to get this one over the line. With the rest of his team, only 20 seconds still to go. And so Pamba and NGR have really got to work some magic if they want any hope of getting this one done. Better Pamba magic sprinkled in here. And suddenly what looked to be a clear-cut round, Weatherballs is going to be fuming if they lose this. Hello?
No!
Hello? He's on top of you, bro. What are you doing?
If he'd shot and didn't go for the knife, he would have got it, but he gets it anyway. There's 3 seconds and a plant from absolutely nothing. DarkZero have got this back together. There's the drop, but Brendo is a step too late, and the man is out the door. Now, I said they didn't have much, and I said you look at what they've got, but what are you doing?
All right, I apologize for flipping to Bliss temporarily. I'm back on the DZ hype train. That is unreal.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? So we're throwing. Just honestly, I don't get it. They had everything going for them. A 3v2 with a Clash who somehow missed someone vaulting up towards their right-hand side. I don't understand how he's got past the line of sight as well. Is he coming through the breach that probably wasn't reinforced off or was already open and then has then vaulted straight over? I'm not sure, but it was amusing at the very least. We said this game's got a weird energy to it. It doesn't get much weirder than that.
Right? Like the rhythm of that round.
So we're in copper, someone said. Yes.
I mean, what a great advert for how naff that site can be as well, right? You're playing yourself onto Kitchen. You get the opening 2. You massively limit them. You have a Clash.
I'm no longer Australian after that, someone said as well. That's painful because these are the rounds. Like when you think back to our series earlier between CAG and BDS, we were looking at like small mistakes, and I mean really small mistakes in round that were leading to differences. That's a monumental mistake. Like you shouldn't be losing rounds out like that. Fully fair play to DZ, by the way, not taking it away from them. Great way to commandeer the end of that round. NGR and Pamba, I salute you. But for Bliss, that might be the round that you come back to rue in about 4 or 5 rounds' time if DarkZero find themselves at match point and taking the series. Casters are AI programmed to jinx the Aussies.
Explain James, then.
That's a good point. He's like the counter AI to make sure it doesn't look too botty.
He's a positive peach for the Aussies. Now, what could be the positives you take away from this? An even half. How horrible would it be? Still not as good. Regardless of how this round goes, they'll always remember the one that should have been. But should have been and could have been at this point, as this isn't a do-or-die game, but you don't want to have to do or die that. Again, based on how great...
Oh, we're opening the big wall this time. Yay!
Nothing to stop it, nothing to be inside, and quick and easy breach. They're getting both. Now, when you do get both, if they are heavy inside sight, you have to pay both of them a keen bit of attention, but Bliss really aren't. Again, a full stretch, a full stress of the map. Only one person. Weatables, are you ready? Bam, bam.
It's Brendo for me. Sat upstairs playing inside of storage. He's the one that they need to move outright because storage is such a power position on towards this main breach. Like, look, they walk in, they're dead. They can use smokes if they really want to. Of course, there's no warden you've got to worry about strictly. But it's still the fact that he might just spray. We've even seen players dropping C4s through floors to try and pick up a freebie. I think it was Kendra who did it back on Consulate the other day. It was beautiful. So that's what they need to clear out first. And I think Brendo's now becoming very acutely aware that DarkZero had step 1 on their checklist as get the wall open. Step 2, kill Brendo.
This is the thing, because everyone hears the wall getting opened, but when you don't hear anything, you go, all right, what's happening? That's that moment of worry. Pamba slipped his way past the bulletproof that was droned to make sure it wasn't active. Weatable, they said, are you ready? But nobody was ready for that. Brendo does find Canadian. The kick goes cold on the breach, and as Pamba's inside causing pressure, they'll probably think, well, maybe there's more than just one. They've got to rotate their way back. Pamba holding on to the fight, but can't win it out. Oda, a huge moment for him to try and reclaim some of this. NJR gets the kit back, throws some flashes in, but Brendo explores outside, and Nath was caught pretty easily on the back end. It is, once again, an impossible situation, but Bliss proved impossible is still possible.
Again, call me a cynic here, but Brendo is literally what we spoke about as the issue inside of storage. He's killed 2 players up there, one that he swung on the window, and then also killed Nani on the breach, just tried to push in. Like, dare I say, it's obvious. They knew this was the thing that had to be in their control, and they tried to get around it but through the smokes. The easier play probably is to go in there and just punish him. That would have really helped them get this round moving, but instead they've been absolutely slammed by the Aussies, holding up on that first floor. That kind of minimalist take of the map in order to try and get a plant down, coming back to bite them.
3 apiece, an even half. And a lot to say about it, but it's a game.
People ask what our favourite series was. The weirdest one so far feels like this one.
The dichotomy of our day.
Yeah, it's been very strange.
What was an insane, intense, throw everything at it, massive comebacks, 2 OTs all the way.
Yeah.
Attackers have
To
located a
this, where I can't, you can see takes, you can see ideas, you can see formulaic, but like, think about that from a sort of on the part. And yeah, obviously, what DarkZero are doing in their approach there, weighing all their options up, trying to find their route through and going, this is the push, right? This is the take, this is what we have, this is what we don't have, yada yada, this is what we might be able to get away with. But it's such a long period of silence before that.
Yeah.
Which makes things very strange, where it's almost like you could take a minute out of this round or any of the previous ones and it would still play exactly the
5
same.
seconds left.
It's quite funny when you look back to how DZ used to play, right? They always were the slow team. It's what they were often criticised as being, and many look towards Canadian as being the reason for that. And we haven't seen too much of that slow play, I'd say, as of late. Yes, they're still a controlled team that you would liken to, again, teams like Virtus Pro, a little bit of the BDS playstyle being thrown in there as well. Stir it all together, ta-da, here's DZ. But I think with there, it's just missing a few of those crucial steps. If you're going to play slow, you've got to play controlled, and that's what they missed in that previous round. As you say, we've got that 3-3 split. Now they move on the defensive side, and the DZ fans in chat are saying, oh, they're on defensive labs. It is over. Don't count the Aussies out just yet.
I think don't count either of them out in terms of throwing rounds as well. They both have the possibilities. DarkZero fans, how can you forget how DarkZero are? That's the sort of sprint of it. You know more than anyone the pain that can be put on you by your own team. DarkZero, they do have the benefit of statistics. They do have the benefit of their defense, and Bliss have the chance to try and do some magic. Now, there is a Vigil underneath. The IQ, I'm not going to say they're at risk of the potential of Big Bad Canadian trying to force their way up towards this fight. He does like to re-explore, but think about where the site is. Think about what is being extended and what is being taken at this point. He's got the lines up. There's a drone tucked right next to him that he slipped on by. Now, Oda is well aware.
Is he, though?
Well, he's aware that someone's close. The side they're going to come from, because of the Vigil utilization, that's the unknown. Ooh, this is wasting time.
That's it. It's keeping the Grim away, and they need the Grim for the execute realistically, because those bees are what really help you restrict defender movement inside and around the sites itself. if Troy can get in here and do some damage, because Oda's coming hunting, it's a matter of patience. And Canadian looks like the one who's got all the time in the world to wait here. He may just catch him out if this carries on.
I mean, this is it. Look, there's a minute 10 left. We have a 1 versus 1
I was about to
of
say, you
your
could swear it's a
flanker and your
1v1.
catch. Oda's waiting.
Oh, he's just so ready.
And just gets
He
him.
was locked on that pixel.
He knew where it was. Wedables gets NJR. Pamba stops the thread, but they've retaken at least some of this verticality. It's Pamba that gets swung out from the side, though. Wedables just keeps pushing. Now, DarkZero, they have 2 remaining players. 40 seconds to try and hold on. There's a great first for Nafe. He's got pings on the second and pops.
Timing.
A second split, but
Shot.
Brendo knew exactly the route. Bolo gets one on the back end. Has a C4 and a 2 versus 1
No
versus 1.
way.
Bolo
Attackers recovered the
has
bomb.
been a huge part of the approach here. The C4's a bit loose, a little bit wild. Brendo versus Bolo. And the similarities probably end there. The castle barricade
I rate it. I rate
gives
it.
them the width and gives them not a true idea of where they are, but the hot pings reveal where they are going. Now, with this option, Brendo's pulled himself back. It only takes a second of a fight there. Brendo just pushed that one over the line, but again, both these teams are capable of it.
Thought it was a good bait with the castle barricade. I thought he was using the noise of it, to be fair, to get Brendo looking the wrong way. But I think when he stepped back out for the spray, expecting him to cross into that pre-fire path, it kind of gave Brendo all the info that he needed in that longer angle then being taken up. Close, though. Very, very close. And it's Bliss in the lead at 4-3.
See, DarkZero fans?
Defused by attackers.
Now, we find our way back in.
What's going on
You
there?
scared me, Troy. Lol. Unlucky.
I remember seeing, like, it was a good while ago, I think I saw this. It was Na'Vi playing, and they were, this back when Kendra was on the team, and I believe he was holding an angle on old Consulate, and literally so fixed in that one of his teammates ran across his line of sight, he just instantly clicked and killed his teammate. I remember asking him a little bit after, like, what happens there? And it's like when players are so fixed on watching a particular pixel change, and as soon as it does, they're just like so locked into press left mouse button, kill whatever's there. If you're not paying enough attention to what's going on around you, i.e. teammates' movements, that can happen. But there, he's had the absolute lock. He's really deleted Troy, who was the one swinging and really should have had the advantage, but got nothing.
And think about how much time was wasted. There was obviously, you know, a bit of a focus of the Grim on that approach, and they pulled it off in the meantime because of the work that was being done by Bliss on the back end. But to get themselves into what was, you know, a 4 versus 3 into a 4 versus 2, it was a very sudden snap. And then you start to think, okay, well, maybe a lot of the focus of DarkZero was pulled away. Canadian was isolated. Canadian was wasting time with the lines. And tomato, who is at blame? That's an impossible finger-pointing game. Bliss, they get themselves back in the front. They haven't been here since the second round, or the third, when things started to get peeled away from them by DarkZero threading 3 rounds in a row. Can Bliss replicate the same to get themselves a little bit of distance here?
Pamba just a little bit off the timing there as well. That Fenrir removed away.
Bomb has been located.
Now Drona can carry on for the side of Bliss. They can figure out where he is. Now they know. Okay, there's a Fenrir dug in. We've got to get rid of him first. And this is where all resources from Bliss should start getting poured towards this top floor, clearing out the roamers or at least catching them on their drop away. EE1Ds are coming out as well. So it is forcing quite a bit of time, attention, and resource. 6 drones already gone, by the way, for the side of Bliss, but they sorely need to get something for this. And Pamba's going to find Fisher Guy in the spray through the wall. Brendo into one, Sage into another. Top floor secure, question mark?
I think there's always a sort of question mark on anything on this map. They are still so spread out. You can sort of get a big circle of players trading places, and Oda does his best to make it, but there it is. There's always someone seemingly a few steps away. Nafe hotfoots it, rotates it onto the back. The 2 players want to maybe try and get themselves closer towards a trade situation, but look how far apart they are. So instead, they've sort of got to trust that they can either take an engagement, take a retake, or take a little bit of the pressure away. That's bad timing. As the drone gets thrown out, whether it was flank watch or active, I mean, it instantly being shot gives an impression of Wedables that he can't quite leave this ground yet.
Not just yet. But I think knowing there's 2 available here, this is where Bliss, with that numbers advantage, can just kind of pause for a second. Yes, you've got basically no information, 1 drone to your name. enough that you can just play together, look for those trades, as long as they're playing tight and not getting too isolated, which I fear they might have. Okay, never mind, just about gets away a few seconds ahead of Nath, and that's the important part. If he goes down there, you're down to a 2 versus 2. At that point, all bets are off. NGR very much alone on site, though. If they push in here and force a 3v1, this is theirs for the taking. He's dug in deep, but Nath has managed to find one. It looks like they might let this one crumble away. A couple of shots come through, but Nath, he sells himself short. Sage picks him up, and NJR's got to pull off a massive 1v2.
Such a small amount of health, and that's all it takes to get the down. He's pushing on. They have the pings. They have the intel of the players getting picked up, but with 7 seconds, how do they do it? He stepped in close. He reveals his position. They got the blind, a 1 versus 1. Just has to stop the planter. Does he full send it? Oh, he tries to. But Wettables has the cover, and Bliss have a 2-round buffer now. 5-3.
Well, Bliss is on one a bit this map, isn't he? It's been him and Brendo really throughout the competition that have been putting up the big numbers, but Wereball's really starting to push himself forward in this one, enough that it's forcing DarkZero into attack timeout. They're down 5-3. Very understandably want to have it now rather than down 6-3, and things start to look really ugly.
It's the perfect time to. You've had those 2 rounds. Think how close they came. Yeah, one of them was the sort of 4 versus 2 to a 1 versus 1. That one, however, it's sort of built down to a 2 versus 1, but both the 2 remaining players were so low. They aren't far away from winning these rounds out, or at least winning the momentum on the engagement. How they push themselves to the 1 step ahead rather than the 1 step behind, I couldn't tell you. They're hoping that they can tell each other.
Yeah, it's again just that a little bit. It's really strange how Troy goes from being like what a massive beast at 11-3 down to being 1-7 so far as on this map. Not quite been the consistency that he'd hoped for across the series, admittedly, despite it being a map that, as I've said, both teams absolutely love. Just not quite finding himself. Is it time? The specials come out from the side of Bliss to push this one over the line, though. I've always said that after attack timeouts, we tend to see the team that called it have a little bit of success going into the next round. So if you're a betting person, you put money on DarkZero taking this next round. But I think Bliss have just made a few too many problems for DarkZero to be able to work through in about 45 seconds. We'll find now as we jump into the top floor site for our next defense. More denial coming in the form of Pamba on that bandit. Once again, looking to lock down this IT wall. We've also got the mirror on side again here. But my eyes turn towards the left-hand side of the screen here, and we potentially got a Monty coming along. And they're about to hand out some well-deserved karma back the other way.
Fear or respect?
5 seconds remaining.
Troy would say respect, but yeah, respect. Why not?
Well,
we're all friends here.
Yeah, let's see how that continues as things progress further on. Obviously, the more and more teams we start getting secured, the more and more we'll look towards who can break the mold, who can buck expectations. Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't been watching every single game today, but we have had technically an NA team qualify, and technically being because it's M80. So they are in NA.
I mean, they've got 2 very dominant European players on their team.
They have everywhere.
There was a whole argument on Twitter this morning
NA.
about like taking ownership of the team, and I'm just like, okay, like, who cares? They're an NA team. Just leave them as an NA team. It's fine.
It's fun to make jokes, but that's where the org is. That's where the hearts are.
Des, I love you, but root for Bliss, please. No, I don't think I will.
At the same time,
my job is to be completely unbiased. I fail at it very regularly, but it is my job. Someone earlier said, like, man, imagine getting paid to yap. It sounds like a dream job. And I was like,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good, given. You have to yap a lot to get to this point where you can yap, though, and be paid for it, admittedly. Really, Fisher's the one to watch out for here. You can see him currently downstairs as well, just hanging around the door of Garage, waiting to start his march up those stairs. He is the one with the diffuser as well, so even more so, a reason why all eyes should be on him. They want some pressure to support him, though. Most importantly, do not want someone flanking up behind him and ruining what should be a beautiful push coming in behind this Monty. Got the mirror on side, and Impact comes out, does basically no damage, and Bolo's got the right idea. There might be a swing coming on through straight after. Look, 2 impacts, and it's done what? 15 HP? Nothing.
Yeah,
they don't do as much damage anymore.
Yeah, they got nerfed recently, if you're unaware of that. And, well, before you could just huck 2 impacts at the front of a blitz and they would die. You can't quite do the same thing here, but the Monty getting rid of that mirror window allows the Selmas to play. And also, well, there's no impact to throw your way around an impact trick against this breach. Fisher guy rotates his way towards the top of blue. There's a C4 beeping ominously atop the door, and he leaves. You're not going to stick around and see what happens. You've got to maybe try and do this. He's baiting the explosion, but it hasn't entirely covered it. They have the ping on the player all the way on the back of the chassis.
They're trying to figure out the way through here as well. They're not quite sure 100% on what the move should be. Obviously, Fisher Guy is going to be the spearhead of this. There's a rounding coming in from Nafe here as well. He shouldn't be able to find him, of course, shield-bearing operator and all that. But it will slow them down. It will impede him. There's no C4 on side for Nafe at this point either. In fact, all they've really got to stop the Monty are goo mines and one more C4. And sure enough, Fisher Guy steps straight into one. Sage in a great position here, just waiting for this push to come on through. And Fisher Guy's found Bolo. Monty is a menace.
Well, Sage is able to get weight, but there's one more that's coming around the back end. They weren't quite aware of. Sage goes down. Canadian's revealed his position, and now the shield going for the plant might get caught by the C4, but the timing, the rotate round, and the trust Fisher Guy had in the motion from Blue, and now a 4 versus 1, and JR. Even this might be a step too far.
Beautiful.
It is Bliss on the back of DZ's timeout. Don't slow down.
Really well orchestrated attack. I look back at the last map and how chaotic things were there at points on Chalet. This is so much better coming out of Bliss to control in that round to make sure that Garage was entirely theirs. 3 or 4 players all coming together to make sure that it was for them. Not like losing people silly inside of Aqua, which you see a lot of teams do. You force a shield through there, you get C4, you lose a couple of players. It's miserable. Just really good control being shown of that round, I think. And DarkZero now have got one hell of a mountain to climb. I love to see all those DZ fans that were like, oh, DZ on defense, this is over. What they didn't tell you is it's over for DZ because Bliss are shagging him right now.
I like how, when I probably said, DZ fans, you know how this often goes, it's not set in stone. They probably said, oh, I can't believe they're being mean to DZ again.
How dare you talk bad about Bolo?
Dare I?
You make them cry.
Oh, no, wait. Look at this. I am right. Do you know what worries me, though? Because I'm sometimes right about these things. Is looking at all of the results today for how many APAC teams and APAC region teams we had start the day in game position. All of the ones that have played so far have lost. Now, you've had losses across Korea, Japan, and then obviously there's another Japan-based game going on, I believe, on the other stream. Has kicked into gear by the sounds of Dev and Carter over the wall.
Yeah. So I was checking it out earlier, actually, to see what the score was. Should we do a little, like, mid-game? We haven't got a soundboard for, like, a whole, like, news flash or, like, alert.
Liquid versus Scars.
Yes. Currently, nothing. Just started round 1.
Well, this is the chance here for Bliss to start the progress in, take us to a third map. They have 3 opportunities.
Caster's going to be crushed when DZ wins an OT. Yeah. Oh my god, you can smell the copium from here.
Oh, I love it when people think fair criticism.
How dare we? Don't talk bad about my DarkZero team.
I'm going to get worse just to irritate you all. This is what you have wrought.
You've done this to yourself.
You have made this bed.
And only yourself to blame.
Lie in it. 6-3. 2 minutes left of this round and their chance to try and put some pressure on, and the pressure is going to be falling down towards
Some
the
real
basement.
Good sound effect from you. The news thing.
Thank you.
Very good. And now suddenly you don't want to talk bad about chat anymore. 1 minute and 45 still to play. Everyone's still alive, so no early deaths falling off from either side, which is remarked on a couple of times. You've seen players stepping forward and being snapped out, being caught out of position. There's no ability to trade them. They've got a red ping here actually inside. They know that someone's on their belly. They're rolling around like a fish. And Sage is going to... What on earth is Canadian doing?
He's face dancing real bad.
Breakdancing because he knows that he's being taken out very shortly after. And sure enough, removed from the round. 5v4. Bliss starting that march on towards victory here on Nighthaven Labs.
Brendo still has the chance to try and hunt down Bolo, but Bolo doesn't quite get the full fat bite. It's Nafe on the back end. Suddenly you have this structure we talked about, and there's the removal. As I said, the game that DarkZero are trying to get the handle on was just being that one step ahead, that position of the trade game where they had the advantageous position. Now it is sort of a 3 versus 3 at this point. Fisher Guy could be recovered, and is. That's why they accidentally dropped the kit, I believe, because it's the same button. There he is, picked back up on the back end, but 40 seconds. Think about where Bolo is. Think about how Pamba has just killed somebody. It's not going to be an easy approach to land here for Bliss.
No, it's a hard battle. We keep on speaking about this sort of thing when the attackers lose out players early on. you're coming down to a spot where the defenders don't mind losing a pulse, losing a lesion. No C4s admittedly in the back pocket here at the mute anymore is going to be a little bit of a stinger, but they'll happily take a 3v3 when it comes to sight because the attackers can't flood as many angles at once, and Wetterballs just absolutely domes Bamba. Said he was having a bit of a map, and sure enough, it has carried on, and Bolo's retaken the hatch. From there, like crumble down, Honor's got to try and find his last man, but Bolo's going to do the right thing. He'll sit, he'll wait, and as soon as that plant starts going down, he is in. Honor not going to be able to finish this one off, got the red ping on him, and Bolo just about gets there. DarkZero take round 10.
I mean, I said it, think about the position that Bolo's in. You have to make the conscious decision at that point. Do we hunt him down? Do we try to find him? Do we think he's still there? Or has he rotated down vending? Or do we just try and send it towards the site itself? Push what is a man advantage and see if we can make it work. When, if you think about what they had to work with, what they had to break down was really only an open hatch because they spent a lot of time having to hunt those other two loose players, Canadian and Naif, that they were able to get locked down around the map itself. There weren't too many options, but statistically, strategically, and structurally, that site that is built around it. It is heavy, it is fat with a pH, and it is something where it requires...
This Jordan guy is proper on me. He's just like, OT is coming, casters!
I don't know why you don't think we would be biased towards the team with an English person on it.
I know, right?
You and I have cast Naif in this very building.
Yeah, we have 4 years ago. Damn.
We have cast Naif winning a trophy in this same arena, chaps.
Yeah. We're having a bit of fun with this one. No one's tilted, it's having a good time.
It's like you don't even read Liquipedia like we do.
We live on Liquipedia a lot. It's a problem. Must be my homepage at this point when we're at events like this. On to March then. Round 11. Let's see if that OT really is coming, and if Jordan turns out to be the prodigy, in which case you can come take my job. If it gets to that point, could be a little bit of a battle on our hands, because again, looking at our other series from earlier on, we said the first map, a little bit of a washout, it was done. The next two maps, max OT across both of them. So heaven knows how this goes on Cafe if we get to that point.
At this point, I'm kind of curious to see what happens, because although Bliss are able to push this over the line, it takes a while. Fisher Guy is struggling with a bit of electricity and a little bit of his own breakdancing here. Now the role of the Thatcher, the play against the mirror window, is it actually going to be contested? No. Will get popped open. There won't be any direct response towards the IT breach, but it's only the first part of a much bigger puzzle. Think about it like you're taking the top of Clubhouse. If you're unaware, you still need to do the work on gym side, even if you are approaching towards CC or vice versa.
I was going to say as well, nothing too crazy. You know, Monty being brought along by Fisher Guy that did so much work for them last time around. So they've kind of, I guess, pulled back a little bit here and just gone for the much more conventional setup. The double hard breach, the Thatcher on side, the Lion. And looking in towards that, normally you bring the Lion along in this current meta to deal with the Azami that, of course, is permanently banned away, but still very powerful as an operator.
Now there is a single player underneath. Hey, it's probably Canadian. It's one of his favorite places to be. Although he actually is on the mirror, oh, it's still Canadian with the C4, ready to try and cook anyone that gets to step in. Now they've had a decent intel game, but I believe he's placed it, and he's just going to... No, in fact, it's still in pocket. He doesn't trust his position. Bolo and Pamba both suffered little scrapes from long-range swings of the Ash, and Brendo just sort of tucking and pre-firing. They drop the hatch, though. They're still stretching the space. They realize what won them the last round, and they're making sure they really play that game.
March, with that flush coming in. Flash coming out over the top of Electric here, and they are in. EE1D out. At least for now, the Goo Mines impeding the push forward. NJR in a big swing. Had a chance to get two there and really take this one through to the next round. For now, going to hold on. Sage in for one. Immediate trade out there. Great bit of team play coming out from DarkZero, but when all the dust has settled, it's 3v3.
They didn't get the confirm on the player, and they didn't have the confirmation on the motion either. Look at them all stacked up, though. What a bit of a risk, Wetterballs. He's able to get one Brendo.
1v2.
Through the vertical, gets Canadian from underneath. A 2 versus 1, technically. Pamba, he's looking for the perfect position, and he gets the catch. A triple for the Pamba party that was premature from Demo and Ollie because they already paid for the supplies. But here could be a chance to utilize them. A 1 versus 1, Brendo, he's going to hold on to the plant. There's 9 seconds, and clever play. Get the player up, take it as a 2 versus 1, and go for the fight and find it. DarkZero, hold out the round.
Wow, I'm sweating. Jordan might be onto something here. I'm going to lose my job. It's building up to that point. But again, another really good round. What I love about DZ in that round in particular, to be serious for 30 seconds, then we'll go back to talking crap with chat. It was about how they played everything in twos. Every gunfight, every engagement was 2 players. We had 2 coming through electric. We had 2 pushing through the garage doorway onto catwalk and then swinging towards IT. So even though we saw a kill come in from Bliss, they did get the first kill onto either of those 2 players. It was always immediately traded. And these are the small bits of team play that really define a team that will make top 8 and a team that won't. Great hold by DarkZero. Still came down to the wire. Bliss, it still feels the team that are sort of air quotes in the lead when it comes to the momentum in the game, the pressure they're exerting. But DarkZero might just about do it here. They might be able to push us over the line, Emmy. We've got a tech pause, though, to have a chat with chat. What they're saying, you were reading it while I was casting.
I mean, it was a lot of celebratants for the play. And to be honest, it's one of the big plays that we've had. Maybe one of the only big hero plays that we've had. We've had close moments where it's gone to 1 versus 1s. We've had these sort of final sort of setups and take back downs, but that sort of idea of the momentum was against them. It was constantly biting back in the motion. Bolo was down for what felt like forever.
Oh, producer Sam, chat is really annoyed at you. It says bleed versus M80 tech pause. Oh, how dare you. I tell you what, Sam never makes a mistake though, so you know what?
Sam says sorry.
Sam apologises profusely to chat and really wants you to know that he cares deeply about your esports experience and it won't happen again.
Sam says he hates DarkZero.
I ad-libbed that a little bit, but he did say something like that. Sam also said he hates DarkZero.
Just hates them.
He thinks you're all losers in the chat if you support DarkZero.
Oh no!
Don't mute us, no!
He's threatening to mute us.
I actually wonder, could he like shut all the stream down and just cut to his face saying, I've killed Emmy and Des.
The statement's
been taken out
by Fluke and Des.
Caster's very biased towards Bliss. Okay.
Are no longer representative.
Oh, very good. Onwards we march. I love this. Again, it's witching hours on B stream. It's what I'm here for. You want the serious game? It's on the A stream. This game is it's turning into actually a bit of a spectacle, though. It's come down to round 12. We might find ourselves in our 3rd overtime of the day if this carries on. Fisher Guy, though, is onto the Monty. We've already spoke a lot this series about how impactful the Monty shield has been. It may prove to be even stronger.
Sam will face judgment, all caps. Okay.
They say screw you too, Sam.
Let's see if we find our way there. Now, Bliss, they're attacking what is, I mean, technically a tertiary site. It is one we've seen played
Can we get a
before.
black and white camera close-up of Sam apologise?
it is a
My
site
apology, new video on YouTube in an hour.
that we've seen before. It's coming to the Reddit afterwards, apparently.
We saw this before though, right? Fisher Guy working his way up these stairs. Of course, this time around not for that top floor site, but more to work on clearing out this top floor. They've got to force these members of DarkZero to drop away, which in fact they've already done. Look, they've all just dropped down from that top floor. No one wants any business being up there anymore. So forget about that. Get yourself a flank drone set up and now start worrying about this floor. The other blessing being they've got Otter on the Nomad, so they can lock this down. These stairways cleared off. No access to DarkZero players.
They've got rid of some of the castle, some of the shepherding of the space itself, but they're leaving the one up on the right-hand side for now, hoping that nobody gets the swing on the storage side. And again, you know, play the space. Give yourself the direct route. You've got the Monty, and you can try and make this work with a more limited space because of the protection it offers you. However, either plant,
Sam
either
have a ukulele,
side,
man. Ukulele.
Either side, it comes in on this, the vertical. And they're a little bit untrustworthy because look underneath. It's Canadian playing underneath the site. What? With a pulse? What? And a C4? Never in a million years.
No.
It's always going to happen.
Okay, no, please.
We see ourselves back in very quickly. That's Sam and that's Pamba popping the head of Oda on cargo control. All of this is being read by the pulse. All of this approach is well advertised. There's the attempt at the plant. Wedables gets the cover, and there's the swing around the back, but
they're going to do it.
It's 2 kills that come out from the side of DZ. They've stopped the diffuser, they've stopped the plant, and somebody's gone for a big rotate. Out cargo window, and apparently still there. The fight down the cargo stairs. He's tucked around to the left-hand side. They've pulled themselves back. Pamba's back in the building on the 2nd story. But with 15 seconds, oh no, Derry, you know what's about to happen,
Jordan's
don't you?
Right. No. No, not like this. No. No. He's going to be insufferable in chat. Absolutely insufferable. Oh, it's gone to OT. Oh, I'm going to lose my job.
Oh, 6-6.
However, fair play to DZ. 3 rounds from nothing as well. They were down 6-3. It looked like they were really chalked. They had that tack timeout of 5-3 and then still lost the next round, only to bounce it back. Really dug deep there, really fought back in. So to be professional for a moment, fair play to DarkZero. An OT that is deserved, and they've still got the chance to see this one closed and wrapped up 2-0.
Chat is asking you to say the thing, but I don't know.
What thing?
We're going...
Do we say it for Jordan, given he very fairly...
I don't know. Would that bring...
I think Jordan deserves it.
I don't know if that would bring peace.
I've got the one. I've got the one. We're going to overtime, chat.
I bet you've never felt this involved. I bet
they feel part of the action.
You guys get that one. You can set that as your alarm.
This is ridiculous.
If you really like. You can take that one.
These unhinged streams are the best thing in the world, though. I love it.
You can take that one to the bank.
The thing is, I can't do it on A stream because everyone hears it in production. In B stream, just Sam. Sam's just like, I'll hear this, and I ain't going to tell a soul.
Yeah,
I've heard he can't hear us right now because he's working on that apology. In fact, no, he's gone to the shop to buy a ukulele.
He's gone to the shop to buy the ukulele.
Then he's doing the YouTube video.
There's a lot
He's a busy
to do,
man.
And it's because of all you chatters at home.
Check your PayPals for the bribe to cast the curse Bliss. Very good.
Okay. Overtime.
Who starts on defense? I haven't even looked at the screen in about 2 minutes.
Bliss
Okay,
start on
very
defense,
good.
but it's 3-3 halves.
Look what Nadian's on. Look what Nadian's on. Let's follow Nadian. Let's see if he can. The
Bliss.
man's 2-10. What's he going to do?
I really want this to go horribly wrong. But just to continue, I want to go into the third map, but only because I want to see how far the fight with chat can go.
Sam is going to need therapy after this match. Oh, this is. He's followed the stream, but he can't talk for 5 minutes. He can't do nothing.
Only.
Sam will announce himself to the world in a few minutes' time. Don't you worry.
Producer Sam's about to find a bit of a beef with you all, and the pressure is going to be inside the side. It's 3-2-1 go, smashing their way all the way around. Remember, we said there was only a single player here before. It's the same strategy. They do have one on the cargo stairs side. And as the calls come out, MJR is the first to suffer.
He can't find
the kit. He can't find anybody. The
now he
Blitz
has.
gets the blind, the Fenrir gets the bonk. Knocked around, they've got the breach open, they have the control. How do they retake here? They're in a very sticky situation, and Nafe makes it even more sticky. The swing round, Oda's caught, Nafe with the 3. Where's he been? Hanging around the kitchen.
They're going to make this 4 in a row, and I love the fact they've realised site was basically empty. Troy spent 30 seconds trying to find someone on a blitz, but they've got in there, they've ignored the players off site, they've got the plant going down. Brendo's got it all to do. Pamba's not going to leave anything for him. A flawless round, and they're 1 round away, Emmy, from securing that spot at our main stage on Friday.
I don't know.
See, I think what Moody said is correct. We feed into each other's chaos, and it's even worse when Sam's there, because he's a little bit of an enabler.
That felt like the first bit of casting I've done in a long time.
In about half a map, yeah. Oh, Bliss timeout.
Bliss timeout. Bliss timeout.
Are you sure you don't want to change that timeout to a different team, Sam, just to wind some people up in chat? And you put M80 in there or Bleed again? They were really pissed off about that.
A day to put chat timeout.
Chat timeout. Everyone timeout. No more typing.
Tactical timeout from chat. Chat has got on the line. Got the connection. It's the only time they can take it, Bliss.
This is unreal.
And this doesn't mean they go home, but it does mean it's another APAC team, a region team that's lost today, and it does mean that they have to play tomorrow.
I had to scroll to find Jordan. Where is the copium casters? Oh man, this feels bad. No copium in sight. Yeah.
It makes
good.
me want to lean into
it. Anything else you want to throw in there, Jordan? No, I guess not. I'm sure it'll be some more smack in a minute.
What do we think of Des?
Yeah,
Tori? What do we think of Tori?
They've
Des?
got Tom's chant.
Yeah, it works.
Apparently, it's going to be a thing. We need a new hobby, apparently. What should our new hobby be?
Well, do they not know that this is a job? So it wouldn't change us doing this.
It's not really a hobby. If
I could have a new hobby like gardening, but I've still come to work every day.
It would change nothing.
If you think we're hobbyists, we really full send our hobbies. We put this whole show
Do you know I go out and buy shirts for this?
These 10 players, hobbyists. Producer Sam, he does it for the love of the game.
He's back there and earns a dinner, and that's about all he gets for being here.
6 to 7. My mind is gone. DarkZero's hasn't. Bliss. They can still pull this one back. Remember how sort of back and forth this has been. This was a 6 to 3 at one point. Bliss were on the precipice of pushing this over, and 4 rounds in a row from the side of DZ. They're back to a defense which, well, of the past 4 rounds, 3 of them were defense wins.
The copium is in full effect right now for me. Had to borrow Jordan's supply after that 9th round, and I think we're about to run out. As DarkZero might just be about to take this 2-0. 2.5 minutes stand between them and that main stage on Friday, like we keep on saying. I know there's a lot on the line. There's 3 more teams to join them there tomorrow as well. If they lose this game, you still got that chance tomorrow, because both of these teams being at 2-1, it means the loser has to play again tomorrow in another best of 3. I don't think it'll be, there's only an A stream, so you won't get this kind of cast again, guys. I'm sorry. However, but you can still enjoy the game, no doubt. IT being opened up. And we're starting that march on forward. You can see for now, at least most of DarkZero's players are dug back on site as well. You've got the one lurking out towards Aqua. We saw last time around when Fisher Guy was at least on the shield. There was a little bit of late round push in that direction, and maybe they're half expecting that. Of course, he's on the thermite. They might not know this just yet, or they will know because it's been opened up. But is it Fisher Guy on it or not? Who knows?
They're trying to anticipate one of those sort of later pushes, and that's one of those problems that we've seen, as I said. Although they started with success on their attacks, it felt late. They're trying to solve that, but a C4 is the solution Pamba has deployed. They have that trade advantage. They have too, because where's Big Bad Nadian? He's underneath you! With a C4 and all the intel to try and drive it. When it gets one stage, gets a second, but held off, could not progress any further because of the castle. Fisher Guy from the top rope doesn't get anything! Because he's what? Big Bad Canadian underneath you! Wettables, all that's left of Bliss's hope of taking this one and keeping their hopes alive today. 6 to 7 in a 1 versus 3, but look at what's in the pockets. 3 smoke canisters. Look who's round the corner, a trade, DarkZero. Welcome to the Manchester stage. Prepare to have Tom J. Sherlock and thousands of Brits screaming very funny things at you.
That's the end of my copium. I can't cope anymore. I can't take it. I can't take it. Jordan's in my head rent-free for the next few days, that's for sure. But being serious for a second, really big comeback by DZ. Being down at 6-3, I was convinced we were going into Cafe, and a map 3 would have been a fantastic way to close things out. But DarkZero just a step too far for the Aussie side to overcome. They still have that second chance tomorrow. They are 2-2. But I tell you what, I don't think anything is more terrifying than playing on that very final day when it's 2-2. You have to win and you go to the main stage the very next day, or 2 days later, admittedly, there's a break in the middle, or you fly back home the next morning. It's a lot of pressure, and that's what they've got to face off against tomorrow, with 5 other teams who will be in exactly the same position.
Now, they fell short last time by a single game, not quite making it towards the live stages. Bliss, unfortunately, not quite living in it yet. They are drifting back and forth.
Oh, Sam messed up again on production.
What'd he do?
The map says won by Bliss.
Oh, you're
Sam.
just... Now that is copium.
Sam, man, you need to get in that chat and be apologising right now.
There he is. And there they are, DarkZero. I mean, again, for all the comments about how strange the pace was, for all the comments about how it was weird of getting back into it, the rested control was never fought for, more delivered, DarkZero just had it a little bit more. They definitely picked up their game after that timeout and were able to thread so many rounds.
It's good to see Bolo at the top as well. Bolo on top. And on the other side, like, I know the scores are all below 100 when it comes to the EPS, but I do want to give a shout out to Wettables as well, especially on that map. He did have a really big performance. Not big enough to overcome DarkZero, admittedly, but still a big game.
Just seeing all of chat, just Sam.
Apologise to a Sam. Sam, surely you can work some magic and actually speak, right? It's not just our microphones that feed into this.
I think that's too much pressure.
It'd be too
Even
much
I
to do.
can't speak.
The man's got like 8 arms back there, pressing every button that he can possibly find. It's why he's not talking to us right now, imagine. He's prepping everything.
Yeah, we're really putting the hurt on. But, DarkZero fans, hey, it's us. Apparently very, very biased casters.
I'm almost sad the B stream goes away now.
It's
I could have
been
done more
fun.
of this.
I wanted a third map.
I would have
but
loved a cafe third map.
Is this the end of the B stream in total? Are we the send-off?
Yeah, we are the send-off of the B stream. Tomorrow,
We are nothing.
Tomorrow
now.
we go down to a single stream. It's 3 games, all on one stream rather than running 2. So that's the end of the B stream.
Wow.
At least it was a laugh.
And this was our send-off.
Do we have to do a formal apology to chat, do you think?
You do. I'll play the uke.
I am really sorry for doubting our lords and saviors, DarkZero. They are clearly the far superior team, and when it comes to Friday, I have zero doubt that they will not get knocked out in the quarterfinals. Who am I kidding? Of course you are. You're in the UK arena. North America's going home on Friday.
Bye.
That's me done. We're still here for now. We're not
Oh,
done yet.
okay.
That would have been one hell
Hey,
of a
do you know
throw.
where we
I
can
tell you
go?
what.
Do you want to see how people do this hobby professionally? The A stream, where we might see another Asian Pacific team lose from that region. Let's go over. Thank you so much. I am so sorry.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sam.